go have some fun.
sound of the 80s. Suddenly you hear it everywhere. It's all beat and all talk. It tells you a story and makes you want to dance. Steve Fox examines an overnight phenomenon, rapping to the beat.
Yes, sir. We're officially back at it. This is Boog Nice coming at you with the Articulated Comic Book Art Podcast. This is episode 91. Very special episode tonight. Got my regular castmates with me. Also, Rectangular is with us. Regular guest. And P, how you feeling, man?
Feeling good. Feeling good,
right.
Looking good.
Rick is here. P is here. The Colonel, Rectangular. We strong. We ready to rock. We got a strict time limit to stick to right now. So it's what it is. Everybody's feeling good though?
Feeling great.
Good.
All right. So what's first?
So I guess first is just pickups. If you guys just want to talk real quick, pickups.
Okay.
Speed round though.
Go ahead, Fabio. What you got?
All right. Yeah, real quick. 3 quick hits for me. I got not 1, but 2, but 3 Mezcos this week. I got the Tactical Batman, which I love. I noticed that the cape is, I think, slightly less quality material than maybe the BVS Batman. It's still good, and I think it overall looks better than the BVS Batman. So if you missed out on that one, which many consider like one of the best Batmans out there, especially from that look, the Tactical Batman is great too.
Yeah, he looks really photogenic, man. I've been seeing some nice pictures.
And I tried it. He fits inside the Mattel Batmobile.
Oh,
so
the RC one?
Yeah. The RC one actually has a bigger seat than the one I have, which is the Multiverse one, and the Multiverse one does fit.
Nice.
So, yeah, you're good. And it looks great in there. It's just, I mean, the figure probably looked better than the car, to be honest. And then I also got the Iron Man, the classic Iron Man. So I'm really stoked because I've had the cap for so long since it came out, basically, the classic cap. Then I made the GPS slots pants Hulk with the SHF Hulk, and now I've got my kind of classic big 3 from Mezco.
I'm surprised you picked up that SHF Hulk, but I mean it's a really good figure. So
I only picked it up because of Seth Black Lantern's pictures, because he put the pants on it, and then that was it for me.
Yeah, it is fire, no doubt.
Yeah, it's good. And then lastly, I got the Popeye, the regular Popeye, which I actually haven't opened yet. I was dusting the shelves and I was making room for him, and the space is there. I just haven't gotten around to unboxing it yet.
Isn't it funny the shit we do when we get some new shit that we really anticipate dusting the shelf?
I cannot open it yet.
Well, because you get one piece that you put on the shelf, but it kind of offsets how everything else on the shelf looks. So now you got to rearrange the other shelves to make room for the stuff that you're taking off that one. It's just
hilarious. It's like you're about to have a new girl come over to your house and shit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I knew I had to make it look good. I wasn't gonna like put a new figure on a dusty shelf. I got to make sure everything else around it is.
Got to make an impression.
Exactly.
What are we, barbarians? Come on.
If I throw it up on the gram, I don't want people clowning me for having dust, or if I take a really close up high res shot of it, I want to make sure that the the thing isn't dusty and you don't pick that up.
You bust out a can of air, or
I do actually have compressed air, and it does work pretty well.
All the stops,
no doubt.
We don't do scoopers in this house.
Just be careful. Make sure you use that in short bursts, because when I first started using it, I was using it in long bursts, and I was basically getting frostbite on my fingertips.
Yeah,
I also clean my computer with it, so multi-purpose. Yeah, that's it. Just three Mezco figures. I haven't opened one of them, but I'm stoked on it. I have actually seen the if you have the Diamond Select Penguin figure from Gotham, he comes with a little dock base, and I think that's gonna look great on that Popeye.
I didn't even think about that. Okay.
Yeah, because it has a little piece of wood on it, and it has a little jutting out, like it's a dock, and then a little bollard, like a little metal pole. So, you dress that up or put it as part of a scene, and it could look pretty good.
That's one thing that Diamond Select is keeps doing, man. It's putting out great bases and accessories and shit that you can use with every other line.
That's right. Yeah, that's pretty much all I've kept from them. All right, that's it for me. Watch you, Pancho.
I dive deeper into Hot Toys, unfortunately.
Oh, here comes Splash.
Yeah. I can't remember if I mentioned it last week, but I got my Raimi Spider-Man. I think I did, though. I got my Raimi Spider-Man, and then I got that Iron Spider. That thing is insane. I literally can't describe it. It's like...
You know what? I saw it in Forbidden Planet this past week. They had it out on display. It does look really nice.
It's bananas, man. And this is the first one this is the first Hot Toys I've had that has had a good head sculpt. Like everything else, I only have the Raimi Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Those are the only other two I have right now, so they're just masked characters. So this is my first foray into like, you know, the like just how well they sculpt these faces and get the likeness going. It's crazy, man. So pretty stoked about that. It's just like coming from 1/12 scale, and specifically coming from like SH Figure Arts and, you know, Mayfex and Revoltech, all these hyper posable and articulated figures going straight to Hot Toys is a little jarring, just because they just don't have the same amount of articulation. And then on top of that, specifically for this Iron Spider, the material they use for his suit, you like can't leave him posed for long at all because it just starts wrinkling the material, which is like crazy whack to me. But at the end of the day, I get it. I understand that that's not what it's for. So that so I mean, I get it. Basically.
Pancho, did you get the Homecoming tech suit?
No, I did not. I remember, you know, actually it's a funny story. I remember being at my local con. My local comic book shop puts on a con every year, and they had it last year. And I remember thinking like, man, what if I just bought this? And then that's what like that's what started like my my saying of like, I know I can get into Hot Toys, but I don't want to, just because that I know as soon as I do, it's going to be the end of it all pretty much. And that was like the first temptation I had, was that tech suit. But now it just goes for mad money. And I'm like, man, that's unfortunate, because I really want to get like just Spider-Man figures, and I want like all of them.
Yeah,
you'd have the nice trilogy of them with that. You know? Yeah.
For sure.
It's interesting too, because you basically have like 3 generations of Hot Toys as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Like early one, mid, and then like current.
Yeah, I told my homemade suit, like, I think I told you, Pancho, like a month ago.
Damn.
And I got like crazy money for it. I got like almost $400.
Yeah, it's crazy. They both go for over $4, no matter what. It's nuts.
Damn.
Yeah, I
money.
I think that's one of the most posable Hot Toys I ever had, was that homemade suit.
Damn.
And the Garfield second movie one is super posable, but like you said, like when you pose it too hard, it kind of messes up the fabric. But that homemade suit was like the perfect balance, because it was like straight up cloth, so it's not only super posable, but there's like no wrinkles, there's no like rubber that you're gonna overstretch.
You know what? Homemade Suit Spider-Man made my top 10 figures of 2018.
Yes,
definitely really dope figure.
Man, that suit was made to be a Hot Toys figure. We all know it.
For sure.
That's true. That's true.
Unbelievable.
That's why the Mezco one is apparently getting good reviews as well.
Yeah, you know what? I've been shitting on the Mezco one, but yeah, some people have said that it's actually pretty nice. But I'm just not on board with Mezco Spider-Man just yet. I don't think they've 100% nailed it just yet.
Yeah, just at that scale, I just expect more articulation for me personally. But you can't discredit their soft goods on that homemade Spidey for sure. And luckily, since everybody fucking hated Amazing Spider-Man 2, that Electro is mad cheap, so I got him for like less than $1. So I'm pretty stoked. I don't know what it is with me and getting 1/6 scale figures for extraordinarily less than what they're worth, but I remember like a couple of months ago when I got that Genos for less than $1, and I'm just replaying shades of that right now, I guess.
You'd freak out everybody in the comments every time you post it, like, dude, how did you find it for how?
Yeah, the dude must have been a crack addict or something, because he just didn't give a shit about how much money he was selling it for. So, you know, he must have been fiending for something. But I got my eye on probably the Harry Osborn from Spider-Man 3. But who knows? We'll see what's up. And then I got that tactical suit Batman also. It's just sitting in my pile of loot. And I think that's it. I was looking forward to getting my John Wick, but Ami well, not Ami, but it just got delayed a month. So I'm gonna have to I was gonna get the Harry from Kingsman as well, but I'm probably gonna pop that in February's pile of loot, because there's really no reason to just ship one figure. You know?
I think they pushed that back too, by the way.
The Harry as well?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. Well, cool. My problems are solved.
John Wick got pushed back, and Harry got pushed back. If I'm not mistaken,
so did Spider-Man.
Spider-Man got pushed back too.
Yeah,
for sure. But that's it for me. I think. Pretty sure. Oh, I got a hat for my Spider-Man.
But I'm actually looking up a photo that perfectly describes Pancho's descent right now.
I can't wait.
Give me a sec while somebody else talks.
Pancho, you got a hat for who?
I got a hat for my Spider-Man Noir. Some cat on eBay was just 3D printing him, and I was like, "Tight, let's do it."
Done deal.
That's it.
Ship it out.
That's it, and it's just it looks good now, so I'm stoked. But that's it for me.
All right, Rick, what you get?
I mean, it's no surprise to anyone that's ever watched this show that's been on this panel that I absolutely love King of the Hill. And so I finally got the Bobby that comes with a Ladybird.
Hell
it's a pretty expensive figure. As soon as I bought it, I was like, I got to hit up Pancho, give him the old Texas Arlen high five. And this bag was secured.
Incredible.
Oh my God, day 621.
Yeah, that's hilarious. I keep on telling my wife, like, yeah, it started with, I'm not getting Hot Toys, and now it's like, well, maybe I should get a Hot Toy, and then now it's like, I bought a Hot Toy, and now it's like, well, maybe I should, I'm probably just going to stick to Spider-Man, and then, like, I was like, well, maybe I'm looking at these Iron Man too, and then it's just fucked up.
I don't know, that new Thanos looks pretty good.
The Thanos does look good, it's just the lack of articulation just bugs me so much. I think that's going to be my saving grace, just because I'm such a articulation snob.
You know, one of the problems with getting into Hot Toys is that it's easy to talk yourself into getting more because of the fucking payment plans.
Yes, that's it.
It's only going to cost me $38 a month.
Yo, that's what's
Real shit.
That's what's keeping me in the master bedroom. Yeah, for sure.
Baby, listen. Yeah, okay, the retail's $400, but I'm only paying $36.92 a month.
Wow, well that sounds really reasonable.
I'm saying. So yeah, I got that Bobby. Interesting story, man. Some guy on Instagram just realized how obsessed I am with King of the Hill, and he started reaching out about how he has the license to produce King of the Hill items.
Excuse me?
Yeah, he only has the license for like anything but toys right now, but he's been reaching out to the people that made that Hank Hill, and he's been trying to get answers of what's going to come next and like what are they going to do, and like apparently the company said that they didn't have anything else planned because they don't think any stores would be willing to carry the King of the Hill figures. And so he reached out to them and I'll fucking carry them, and it looks like that may get off the ground, so I'm excited for that. That guy is awesome. He has like pins right now of King of the Hill officially licensed, so it's like nothing fake where like Bobby Hill is dressed like Marvin the Martian or something goofy. They're 100% legit. The dude is fucking awesome. He's a great guy. So let's hope that ends up going through. We get fucking more King of the Hill figures. All I have is Bill left, and then I'm done with the entire series. It took like 10 years.
Yeah.
to
the
find
only figure I have is Bill.
Yeah, it took like 10 years to find the model at a decent price, but fuck it. Look, mama, I made it.
That's what it's all about.
I also posted in PMP the other day. I found a bunch of fucking Spider-Man packs for $11, and I bought every single one I saw.
Oh shit, yeah.
Because I don't know, I have a sick problem, and obviously I promised Kendall I have one for him. So that was like the way of talking myself into it. Like, dude, one of these is for Kendall. It's okay. I don't care about all of these. One of them is for Kendall. It's like one of them's not even mine. And so I bought all of those, and I also got this will be great for Fabio. I finally got that Judgment Day T800.
Ooh.
I've said it many times on the show, but I don't like to buy NECA figures outside of a store. I just don't like it. I don't feel safe, buying them outside of a store. If something goes wrong, and that fucking shipping from NECA on Amazon or eBay is a total buzzkill. I never feel like buying them when they're online. But I saw it in the store, and it was immediately thrown into the fucking cart.
Nice.
And,
Which
and
one? The Ultimate?
Yeah, the Ultimate. Absolutely. Nice. I'd never personally seen it in a store until that day. And so I bought that. I'm gonna buy all the Terminator ones whenever I see them in the store. I also got that Gremlin, the one that comes with like the popcorn and the payday and the cigarette. I was with my little brother in the store, and he was looking at it. He's like, "What is this?" And like,
I just saw Homeboy in the group put up a picture yesterday with that. I think it was that version. He had him in the microwave and shit. You saw that pic on the group?
no, I actually didn't see that picture.
Let's see if I can find it. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, he was like, "What is this?" And just instinctively, I was like, "Dude, that's a cigarette." And he's like, "What's a cigarette?" He's like 6 years old, and I was like, "Oh man!" I was like, "You know, pixie sticks?" He's like, "Yeah." I was like, "Oh, it's a lot like that, but for adults."
Yeah, but they're bad for you.
And they're gonna kill you, and they'll kill you. That's what those are. And yeah, so it's funny, man. I just keep buying more and more NECA just because I see them in person. Like I said, I've always thought that their products were perfectly fine. I never had the confidence enough in them to buy them online, to be perfectly honest. So, getting that, I got the Claw and the Killmonger from Amazon. That Claw's fucking great. That Killmonger, great. You know, don't have no complaints on that. I should be getting my Kingpin figures that I ordered from Amazon next week. It says that I'm going to have them on Thursday. We'll see if they don't pull some Amazon shit. Just like, oh, it looks like something was wrong with the inventory and we canceled your order. Because they've done it to me and to Todd here many times. So let's hope that that's not the case. They don't pull a fast one, try to piss me off. I think that's everything I ended up getting. So I'm clear. Can't wait. More King of the Hill possibly. I'll keep you posted, Pancho.
Please do.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. He's actually running a contest giving away those Painkill figures, so that's also great too. More notoriety for King of the Hill. Let's do it.
Of course.
Todd, what about you? What have you been buying, Todd?
Oh, let's see. Yeah, I'm also supposed to be getting my Kingpin wave, I think, Tuesday. So psyched about that. I got the Captain Marvel wave at Target. They were definitely pulling some fuckery with me. Yeah. Yeah, if you listen to the They're Not Dolls podcast, you can tell Josh Chaney was retelling the story how I had to go there several times, and they tried to give me the bullshit about a reset date, store reset, and I just had to keep going back there. And the one day that I showed up, they were all sitting on the shelf. They weren't even hanging. They didn't even have a peg for them. They just put them laying flat on the shelf. And they had all of them out except for Talos and the regular Captain Marvel, not the bomber jacket. So I had to tell a kid to go and get those. And they look pretty good. I'm holding on to them because I have an online order coming, and then that's what I always do. Whichever ones have the worst paint, I return those back to the store. And then let's see. Oh, and then check out my channel if you want to watch the review. I got the Ku model 1/12 scale samurai foot soldier. It's called the Ashigaru, which in Japanese literally means foot soldier. And I got the red one in the mail first. I have the rest of the figures coming, but this one I got from a seller in China. So yeah, it's very cool. It's basically like a 3A figure, but I feel like the quality is a little bit better than 3A. 3A feels a little brittle, and the hands and feet on 3A figures pop off a lot easier than on these guys.
Yeah, they sure do.
Yeah, so these scale perfectly with articulated icons, but they're expensive.
3A is a crazy expensive brand, but they're worth it, more often than not.
But this is Ku model?
Correct. Yeah, they're known for basically hot toys. They make really, really nice 1/6 scale or 12-inch scale figures. So
Okay.
yeah, they have
the same company that's doing the Knights Templars and all that stuff.
Correct. Yeah,
right.
that was their first venture into 1/12 scale.
Are those out?
Yeah, those are out.
Oh.
They're
they quietly came out. I think last week or a week before, something like that.
Yeah, I think about a week
I have
before.
not seen any reviews. I haven't seen any photos. Nothing.
Yeah,
I was just looking at your review actually, Todd.
Thank you. Yeah, it's in typical rectangular fashion. It's excessively long, but I try to give people as much detail as they so that they're like, the only thing I didn't do was strip him naked.
Oh, I don't want to watch them.
Oh
no, right. Yeah, thankfully you didn't do that.
I probably will end up when I do one of the other reviews because I have multiples coming. So just to make sure that if I tear a fabric or something, I already have I have another one just because how shipping from China can sometimes go. It's like, we lost it, or we couldn't actually get you the figure, So once I have multiples in hand, then I'll feel comfortable about experimenting with taking the clothing off. But if you search online, at least when they were working on the prototypes, they have pictures of the figure with no clothes on, and when I was telling Boog about it, one main difference between 3A figures is 3A figures have ball jointed hips, and these have kind of similar to maybe, I don't know, Figure Arts or Figma, where they have just a ball joint at the hip, and then and so you can swivel it inside the hip socket, but it doesn't go. You're maybe only going to get about 30 to 45 degrees. There's no actual thigh cut, upper thigh cut, but it works. It's realistic for what an actual person would move anyway. So nice. I'm just glad that it actually has some range of motion there, because I was afraid it was going to be pretty static. But
all right, Todd, what else you got, man? Come on.
That was it.
Who's left? Just me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Only thing I got was the Popeye white sailor suit. Popeye. I think that was the only thing I got this past week, if I'm not mistaken. I got. Yeah, breezed through it. I like it. It's a good figure. I mean, I still like the original one better, but it's a solid figure. If you were able to catch it, then I'm sure you're pleased with them. Pretty much same figure, just a different outfit. I think that was the only thing I got this week. Well, I reviewed I reviewed Professor X and Deadpool, but was that last week that I talked about that? I don't even know, man.
No, this week.
Okay, yeah. So I got Professor X, the legendary or the Ultimate Rider series, Professor X and Deadpool, both really solid figures, and pretty happy with both of them, especially Professor X. He came out better than I expected. Pretty much what you would expect for a Marvel Legend that they really put time and effort into. So good job on that. Those should be dropping in March. And aside from the few people that got them early, you should see those showing up in March. And yeah, that was it this week. I got the 2 Ultimate Riders figures and Popeye. That was it. But yeah, we got a little bit of news to get to before we bring in Dave. So some shit happened this week. There was a few things, right?
Yeah, I got SH Figure Arts, Mezco, Marvel Legends just on here. Just a quick bullet point.
Let's talk about that. Well, we got Todd here. Let's talk about that Marvel Legends thing that we need to confirm whether it's true or not.
Yeah. Stop speaking of riddles. Let's.
It was that thing you got tagged in, Todd. By
you're talking about the Foosh article,
right?
It was the scoop.
Yeah, I don't have any proof of any of that stuff coming. I'm not saying it's not coming, but I haven't seen any proof of it. So if it is coming out, they're keeping it under really tight wraps, and I'm curious to know where, they haven't shown the people on the Fushu who reported this. They're not showing any proof, or they're not saying where they found it. They just said the internet. So,
Do you think anybody would just go on the internet and tell lies?
Unheard of. There's no precedence for that.
Certainly possible. So
There's all fake news. No one has ever reported this in the history of time. Not me, folks.
you show me a UPC, you show me a product listing.
Well, for those of us that are out of the loop, what did they say? Allegedly.
So what we say here is he doesn't know if these are going to be store exclusives, but he's heard that they might be coming this summer around August, like the 10th anniversary MCU sets. So he's got a comic Hulk versus first appearance Wolverine.
Interesting.
At $60 approximately.
Yikes.
He's got another MCU 2-pack, Luis and Ghost, from the hit summer 2018 film Ant-Man and the Wasp.
That's wild.
And he's got some single-packed figures, which are individual releases based on Alex Ross's art. So these are some representations, but not necessarily like the versions that they'll use. So we got Iron Man and Thor. Seems weird that they would go with a stylized version of a classic Hulk for a classic Thor the first time they do it.
Yeah.
So I we'll let that stand on its own. And then another MCU 2-pack.
You say?
The Grandmaster and Korg from Thor Ragnarok.
Nice.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, some of these are definitely reaching, I must say, but this one is, I mean, we don't even have a collector figure, which would be cool to go with this. So I would see Korg more as like a build-a-figure in a Ragnarok wave, and we're way past that. And then finally, he's got a 2-pack Colossus versus Juggernaut.
Mamma mia.
Right? This could be interesting. I'd like to see that.
Could be real. Who knows?
But that's what kind of Juggernaut are they going to use? Are they going to re-release the Build-A-Figure?
Wouldn't be the first time,
but it would kind of be bullshit to get a classic Colossus like this just to get another Build-A-Figure you already have. I don't know. So again, like Todd said, none of this has been confirmed. There's no it's all seemingly speculation. He prefaces this by saying that this has something to do with Marvel's 80th anniversary, and I don't know what that has to do with any of this. So it's just it's just been put out. There's nothing to really confirm or deny this.
Put out into the ether, huh?
Yeah.
Hey, well,
yeah, especially that Alex Ross thing kind of threw me off. Like, I don't.
Yeah, and Luis and Ghost, that seems like really reaching to me.
Yeah, the Alex Ross and that Ghost pack were like, oh, I don't know, man.
Mm-hmm. The only thing from here I could foreseeably see is maybe Hulk and Wolverine and Thor and Juggernaut and Colossus as part of a deluxe 2-pack set. I could see that kind of happening where they would reuse Build-A-Figure and then one single-pack figure.
Well, it's not too far-fetched to believe that they would just reuse his suited body for that, whatever his name is.
For Luis? Yeah, Luis. I mean, that's definitely true.
And
correct me if I'm wrong, but for this, though?
Yeah, and I don't know, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think Ghost is that she's not just one and done. She's going to appear in later MCU movies, so
probably true. Yeah, it
wouldn't be too far fetched to believe that they would just get the mold out, get the buck out of the way, and then just put it in this 2-pack, and then later on down whatever movie she comes in, they'll just release it single carded.
I mean, breaking it down, there's not really a lot of stuff on this list that requires a lot of new tooling.
Yeah, for sure.
So they could do all of this, but how much of it is really being asked for? Korg, for example, I could see them reusing Thing,
baby, that Thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's such easy repaint for them.
Yeah, crazy easy repaint.
Would not mind that at all, to be honest.
But they could even probably do a classic Korg. Don't even have to fuck with the paint.
That's true.
Basically.
I mean, you just need a more cone head, right?
Yeah. Basically, yeah. Just retool some of the Gladiator Hulk armor, slap it on him. Why not?
In fact, if you could take his armor off, obviously they're not going to fuck with the mold on thing. It's just going to be a rubber overlay. But you take that off, and you could just have, Korg people.
Yeah.
Whatever they're called.
That's it. I think it's time we'll get a Grandmaster. We'll get a Jeff Goldblum head sculpt from Hasbro and Mattel.
That's right. I mean, the Jeff Goldblum alone would definitely be worth having this.
100%.
I mean, the weird one really is this, the kind of stylized Alex Ross look.
Yeah. That is odd. What would they do?
$24.99 each.
Yeah, what would they would $40.99 each?
No, $24.99
Oh,
each.
okay. What would they do to really drive home Alex Ross? Just the paint apps, I guess? Maybe
yeah, I would imagine.
That seems like a lot.
But again, why give us what would it hopefully be relatively new pieces on this Thor for the first time in weird colors, That's the next
I kind of like I sort of remember them mentioning this at what was the last event? What was that? New York Comic-Con? I kind of remember them mentioning this. Like when I saw this report, I was like, I don't know. It sparked something in my memory banks that they mentioned this. So I think that this is happening, but I guess we'll find out for sure next month. But I do vaguely remember them talking about this, man.
Yeah, we got some guy yelling at us because he's like, they did do a stylized version with Hulk. It was the true exclusive. It was based on the Ed McGuinness art. Okay.
Well, I mean, they've been doing that for a while as far as modeling shit after certain artists. Yeah, but
right. I mean, they have done that, but it's not something that they've been doing in this kind of new generation of Legends where they all kind of have the same art style where they all kind of fit, to the point where a lot of the men and women, unmasked faces look kind of the same.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from for sure.
They kind of follow that art style. They all kind of fit with each other. So to have these two, I don't know. Especially if it's just these two, it's like you can't do that to us. We got to have the rest.
You can't do that to us.
How dare you?
Think of the kids.
And this would be something I feel like they would put out at a con, in weird colors, just put it on a shelf without saying anything and just kind of ask people what they think of it in person.
Hey, what do you think of this? Just grabbing people from.
Well, they do that, when they put random Build-A-Figures that people have kit bashed into the big Marvel Legends display, people will come and comment on it, or publications online will comment on it, and that's how they kind of gauge interest as to whether that character or that design or whatever is desirable.
Yeah, the Walmart exclusive Thanos that we got recently, that's straight Ed McGuinness art from Guardians.
There you go.
It's that version.
Eddie McGinney back at it again.
I guess what I'm saying is, in terms of paint application, would be the only thing that would really set this apart.
Really sell it as an Alex Ross piece for sure.
Exactly. And I don't see them doing that specifically. If it's these costumes, 100%. Yeah, do it. Redo a classic Iron Man like this, even though a lot of Legends collectors already bought the Mezco.
Yeah.
And then, I just love to see the outcry of that. The collective nerd rage in that moment.
That's what you live for.
I know.
I'm just wondering how this is going to go, though. Are these going to be store exclusives, or it seems
they made a statement. What was it, last week or the week before, that they're going to reopen the Hasbro toy shop to be a collectible shop?
That's true. I forgot about that they sent that out.
Fine. Yeah, man. How many years were they we have no plans to do that? Why? Why would you not have that plan?
It was funny. I was watching some older interviews and prepping for Day of Honor, and there was an interview of him. Boog was there. It was the San Diego Comic-Con. This was in 2012, I think, and it was hilarious that HasbroToyShop.com, you could only buy full cases. They weren't selling individual figures back then.
Yikes.
Yeah, I remember. I think that's how I got my Arnim Zola wave.
Yeah.
What really trips me out on this is just how it's written. Like it's so vague, and there's nothing really concrete about it. He says Marvel went and had a very special birthday, the 80th, and now Hasbro wants to throw one heck of a big party. How big of a party, you ask? Big enough to knock off long-standing classic comic characters, but also hit some massive fan favorites from the movies. Those, I don't know. I feel like those two thoughts don't flow into each other.
I could see how the movie thing kind of seeps in with like a 80th anniversary, like a celebration of all things Marvel type of deal.
Sure.
Like they can't exclude the MCU at this point.
No, of course not.
So if
I guess what I'm saying is, like, if this were really coming under the banner of like, hey, we're celebrating Marvel's 80th birthday here, we Marvel are giving you all of these solicitation images and these preview images and all that. That's how they would do it. Not like, hey, it's our 80th birthday. Here's a little info leak from this one guy.
Yeah, this could be like a nudge of the shoulder. Like, guess what I heard? A little secret. Don't tell anyone.
Well, I'm a little confused.
It seems like he was at an 80th birthday party for Marvel, and he was like flying the wall to some conversation. Like, where is he coming from with this?
So I'm saying at the end of that little insert there was did Jay sign off on that? Was that him that wrote that little? Are we supposed to assume that this is coming from Hasbro, or this is Jay's writing right here? That's what I'm confused about.
Are you referring to JC? Because this is by Foosh, not Marvelous.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I didn't even see that.
This is by some guy named Tatooine Sandworm.
Okay. So
let me check the comments on this article real quick. Let's do a little
Sandworm is back at it again. Typical Sandworm.
What I find kind of hilarious is that the Foosh will publish this, but when Robo did his latest news video talking about the Avengers figures that showed up on eBay, he didn't say anything about the rest of the assortment, which I reported on. It's like you'll publish stuff that you can't really back up, but when somebody publishes or talks about something they have proof of, you ignore it. So,
but you assuming that he watched your video, though?
I know. I know. I hit him up, and he hasn't responded. So I'm like, I said, so did you not watch my video, or you don't believe that it's true?
Lefty on red, huh?
Yeah, man. At least you're hitting him up. You're like, hey, man, what's the fucking deal? What's your fucking problem, guy?
Why though? Why? Like, what? I don't know. All right. I mean, it doesn't like. When do news outlets hit you up and say, "Are you reading? Are you watching?" Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? Like, fuck that.
And another thing about the Ghost and Luis set, I can see that somebody mentions it here too. That's gonna warm pegs worse than that Killmonger set. And people actually loved Killmonger.
Yeah. My point is like they never publish stuff that's speculation. You know what I mean? Or stuff that Hasbro hasn't come out and said.
Interesting. This could be like a scoop for them, maybe a hot scoop.
Yeah, it could be.
But like,
why wasn't it mentioned as such? I mean, none of this is. It wasn't presented from a legitimate point of view in any way.
Like I said, I think it's just kind of like a hey, guess what I heard?
Right.
Let me write an article. Just keep it between you and me. It's a little secret between you and me, and we'll just see what happens.
In summation, before we move on, big if true.
Yeah. Big baby. I want to be big.
Big if true.
My favorite movies, man.
That's it. I want to be big.
All right, can we move on?
All right, okay. Let's see. Next up, one thing for SH Figure Arts is Android 21 Bubblegum Alien was put up for was hitting pre-orders for some sites. Rick, you get her pre-order or no? What's the move? Resident Dragon Ball brother.
Oh yeah, pre-ordered 100%.
Damn.
Come on, man.
Where'd you pre-order her at?
Is that Bowsette?
Yeah, man, it's Bowsette.
Yeah, this is
Majin Buu set.
What happened was that she ventured into the Dragon Ball universe, and she put on a crown.
I don't even know who this chick is. That's why I didn't bother pre-ordering her. Who is this? This is from the video game?
Explain it, Pancho.
She's from Dragon Ball Fighter Z. She's the new character from that, designed by Akira Toriyama. I wouldn't, you know what? Just the way that Dragon Ball is going now, I wouldn't be shocked if she was written into canon at any point. Honestly, it wouldn't shock me. But she's like a scientist. She's an android, just like 16, 17, all those guys, and she develops this candy, I believe, where she eats it and she turns into like this Majin looking form right here. So she has a human form and then this Majin form too. So
Interesting.
yeah,
They're both extremely sexualized on fandom sites and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, clearly it's a Akira Toriyama character. So what are you gonna do? But yeah, I think this is gonna be a web exclusive. I'm sure it's a web exclusive.
No, it is. It definitely is. It was on what's the name? Where did you pre-order it, Rick?
Oh, I said I was gonna pre-order it. Not that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
as soon
it
as it goes
was.
up on, I'm gonna have to probably buy it from Big Bad Toy Store, or Amazon, or something.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It wasn't on Ami, so I didn't really fuck with it. And
It was on the sites where you got to pay first, basically.
Yeah.
That's why.
I don't buy from those sites. I fucking forget their names even.
I'm not living on those sites the week before payday for sure. But I'm pretty stoked on this. The sculpt looks good. I think the technology looks really cool, especially for pants. Like, well, it's gonna be like a cool. I was gonna say it's a cool preview for Majin Buu, and Majin Buu comes out way before her. So there you go. But I'm pretty stoked to see just like characters that people really care about from the video games. I know they kind of dropped the ball with that Time Patroller Trunks and that create a character from Xenoverse. But this is probably the one that'll hit, like the video game property that'll hit. And I think that if this is a hit for a Dragon Ball video game property, I think the next step is to really fuck with Dragon Ball Heroes stuff.
Was that a donut in her hand?
It probably was. Hold on.
So she eats hella fucking sweets.
Yeah, she's all about sweets, candies, all that good stuff.
She is a great.
I love candy, sweet, sugary stuff.
Michelle Obama would not be proud.
You'd be giving her that Obama face when he was talking all nice to that white lady.
But the thing that has me excited about this, if this sells well, is like I was saying that they would probably try and dip into more Dragon Ball game licenses, and if they start experimenting with Dragon Ball Heroes, like that's the one where it's just no holds bar, like everything is nuts, where you got like Super Saiyan 4 Trunks and all that shit. Like that will be, I believe, the entryway into like a Super Saiyan 4 Goku, because they teased it forever ago, like 3 years ago at this point, I believe, and just nothing ever came from it. But I think this could be like their foot in the door for like, hey, we really want to make this Super Saiyan 4 Goku, but we don't really want to dive into Dragon Ball GT. But since this Dragon Ball Fighter Z figure did so well, it wouldn't hurt to step into Dragon Ball Heroes. And Dragon Ball Heroes is huge in Japan, so these guys think about their home market as well in terms of worldwide.
What was the name of the most recent fighter that came out?
Fighter Z is the most recent Dragon Ball specific fighting game, and then Dragon Ball characters are going to be in Jump Force, and then like another Dragon Ball game was announced just the other day, but it's like an RPG, so that's supposed to be pretty tight too. But yeah, this is basically it. Yeah, once she goes up on Big Bad Toy Store or somewhere where I don't gotta fork out $80 to get her, like then I'll probably get her. What I usually end up doing for stuff like this is I'll just wait until the week they come out, and then I'll just buy it on eBay, and it's just the cost of the figure plus EMS. and that's usually what I do. So that's me. That's me. So that's it for SH Figure Arts. Next up is Mezco.
I got one little quick NECA thing to interject that I forgot to mention in our
Boom.
chat. We had a big hint at something that they announced a while back, but then seemed like it was canceled. But now they've said that they're still working on it. So if I get my screen share up, and then along with the confirmation that they are still working on the old stuff, we got confirmation of new stuff.
Oh shit!
So they showed this Predator at Toy Fair like 2 years ago almost now. And this was the one that was part of the Dark Horse 2-packs with the armored Batman. And then there was another Predator that was with a regular comic Batman. And then there was a Xenomorph. I'm sorry, it was a Xenomorph versus Batman. And then there was a Xenomorph versus Superman. And then it seemed like licensing was kind of, being a big hoop to jump through, and they might not be able to get it done. So we haven't heard about it for a while. Then they tweeted out this picture of the Predator with armored Batman. And it says, "Never count a good Predator out. This guy is coming. He will happen. Stay tuned." So that's got people digging up some old teases. And NECA actually hinted that some guy asked about the 3 2-packs, and he's like, whoop, there's 4 actually. So that had people speculating what could be the 4th character or the 4th 2-pack. There was actually a crossover with blew my water early. There was a crossover with Aliens and Green Lantern right there.
Oh shit!
So people dug up this old reveal, this old behind the scenes photo with a Green Lantern here in the background, using kind of what seems like the same buck as the Superman and the Batman. So we could have a comic, with the DC license all kind of up in the air, with Mattel kind of giving up the 6-inch figure license, and I think it was Spin Master.
Whoa, hold up. They didn't give shit up. They lost.
They didn't give it. They lost.
It was taken away.
To be honest, actually. It was taken.
Dumped.
Snatched like a child when he's misbehaving with his toys. Literally. It's like, give it back. No, you can get it back when you've worked for it.
Yeah, you're fucking
I broke up with her, so that's right.
Shit, did I tell you about that time when I got in like big trouble in school, like right before Christmas one year, and my mom had took away all my toys and shit, and she gave them back to me for Christmas?
Damn.
Oh my god, that's the move. That's hilarious.
That's some funny shit.
My
I laugh about it now.
Todd's hating on these Predators in the chat. He's in the podcast with us, but he can't even say it. I see him in the chat. Like, how many damn Predator figures do people need from NECA? We're here, Todd.
They're aliens, damn it.
I mean, how many different Avengers do you need? You got to have all different Avengers. You got to have new Avengers. You got to have your West Coast Avengers. It's the same shit. I got to have my Dark Horse tribe. I got to have my Dead End tribe. Now I got to have my Dark Horse tribe. Like,
hey, did I see? Did I see? This is not even related. You said Dark Horse, and I thought of Hellboy. But did I see pictures of that new Hellboy already, or was that? I feel like I saw.
That's the 1,000 Toys one, right?
Yeah. When is that supposed to be dropping?
I know the last pictures that we saw was that they reworked the knees because everybody hated the knees.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But that was the last I heard of it. I haven't really kept up with it.
Okay. So I saw a couple of Hellboy pictures on the group this week, and I was wondering if it was the new Hellboy. I couldn't really tell. Somebody in the chat, let us know if that shit dropped.
Al says all the Predators look the same. Well, I mean, no.
That's
They got different armors. They got different weapons. I mean, it's just like the Mythic Legions. They're all in the same buck, but they all have different armors and weapons, and they make them individual characters. I don't see the difference, honestly.
We're dealing with a sick man.
You guys are snobs, is all. Y'all think one. I mean, honestly, if you're not a big fan of the Predator franchise, just get the movie one and pair it up with like whatever the fuck you want.
For sure.
The classic movie one is still the design that all the comic ones are based on. So like, get that.
Fabio, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. I was redoing a Detolf today, a display. I was doing a Cell Arc display from Dragon Ball, and I realized there are 3 fucking cells. There's just regular Cell, and there's premium color Cell with just a little bit more vibrant colors, and there's manga colored Cell with like blue instead of purple. They're all different, man, but yeah, I can see why somebody thinks I'm nuts.
Yeah, that 1,000.
I've got all 3 versions of fucking Cap. I don't need that. I mean, they all basically look the same.
The 1,000 Toys Hellboy is not out till May, so sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's about it. We can. I mean, speaking of Mezco, I guess we can switch now. I think all we really had to mention was the Popeye, right?
Well, yeah. Looks like
you know what? I'm fucking up. Sorry. One more thing. Someone mentioned Shredder in the chat, and yes, they did.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Big Shredder. They also teased.
Well, right, before you get off Shredder, though, I saw somebody point out that it looked like the same buck as the what's the name?
Soldier.
It is
Foot Soldier. Yeah,
we knew that.
Oh, we knew that. That was known.
I mean, yeah, he's just. I mean, he basically wears the same thing. He's just have the
that's
cape.
what I would imagine. They all wear the same shit.
Yeah. They just put the armor, and he's gonna have the big cape too. Obviously.
You think his head is too big?
I think the helmet's really big. Yeah, but it was in the movie too, wasn't it? I think it looks weird, especially because it doesn't have the cape. If we can get him standing more upright with the cape, it'll kind of like even out the shape of it.
That head does look kind of big, and his eyes look weird too.
It's completely unrelated, but when I look at him, I just hear Mortal Kombat.
And the mask is removable, so we'll see.
I hope when they scale this down, he doesn't have the big head syndrome.
Yeah, I honestly think it might even look better scaled down.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think he's got the new double jointed elbows too.
Should double up.
Definitely the knees.
This shit is literally a small child.
Yeah, 18 inches, man. Toddler.
He's gonna get lost in IKEA.
Yeah.
Somebody put him in the
and they showed this creature pack, which is now this Rottweiler.
Nice. Doggone.
That's right.
Could work for some guard dogs, man.
Yep. Junkyard dogs, and then the Resurrection Ripley.
Face looks a little soft, but I can dig it.
Yeah.
The likeness is there. It's just, you're right.
Oh, the best part is she comes with the basketball.
Really?
Yeah.
Pickup game?
Remember that scene in the movie where she tosses the basketball over her head and fucking makes it for a shot? She actually did that too.
Another figure that I will be buying for one accessory.
See you guys on the flippity flip, pretty much.
You already have the Aliens Ripley, right, Boog?
Yep.
Yeah, with the Queen and the power loader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't need this. But I do.
Basically.
Oh, man.
That's it. We can switch gears.
All right.
I see people talking about the in chat talking about the Kingpin wave. What's the consensus on that? Is it still trash?
Everybody thinks it's trash, dude.
You know what's interesting? I haven't read Spider-Man 800 until last week, and now that I read that, I kind of low key want that wave, pretty much. I will still agree that Red Goblin is on a terrible buck, but after reading it, it's I kind of still want it, and I was thinking back to what you were saying the other week, Rick. Maybe we're just fucking old, because I hadn't fucked with that comic in any sort of way to really care about those characters or know anything about those characters at all. But once I read it, I'm like, okay, maybe this is worth it.
Real quick, can I make you guys mad for a second?
Well, that's kind of what we said. We said that we didn't doubt that the comic book might be fire. It's just that the figures looked shitty.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, go ahead, Fabio, real quick. Make me mad.
I need to go back to NECA because I forgot one thing, and it's big.
No. You're confusing laughing and crying, bro.
I got you. It's quick. If you missed out on the cartoon set from last year, it seems like it's going to be re-released also at GameStop in a 2-pack with the Foot Soldiers, because there was a leaked UPC for GameStop that had Raphael versus Foot Soldier.
Oh, shit.
I'm looking for it right now, but it seems like, don't go shelling out on that one either.
Yo, quick PSA. Whenever you're trying to search for UPCs at GameStop, they're not called UPCs, they're called SKUs. So if you're ever trying to call a GameStop or whatever and you ask them for a UPC, they will definitely hang up on you because they don't know what the fuck that means. So if you're ever curious about trying to get like, because I see in a lot of groups, people get figures and they'll be like, oh, what's the UPC? But if it's from a GameStop and they give you the UPC for the GameStop, that's useless information. Always look at the sticker, and there's a SKU number on the sticker. Usually it starts with like 3 numbers in a bracket, and those 3 numbers stand for the what type of product that is. So action figures, I think, will be 002, maybe, something like that, or maybe 909, something like that. But yeah, always check out for SKUs when
so that's what I meant, is that there was a leaked SKU.
Yeah.
And if you're at Target, they're called DPCI numbers.
Boom. You got to keep up with all the acronyms, man.
I know. Speak.
And in Walgreens, they're called Wix.
Oh, that's right.
Damn. Oh, but yeah. What's interesting is I noticed with that wave, a lot of that shit did not translate well off of the page. Like that Spider-Man, the summer fun Spidey that we were like dogging on the entire time, where it looks like he's wearing sunglasses.
Mm-hmm.
Like his eyes are just stylistically drawn coming off of his face almost in the comics, and like it's not like in the figure they look like sunglasses, like dead ass they look like sunglasses, but in the comic they behave just like his regular eyes. Like they'll enlarge and they'll squint and stuff, but the edge just kind of is drawn off of the frame of his face, so like it just doesn't translate well onto a figure. That's why
maybe if Mayfex or Figure Arts or one of those companies that do interchangeable eyes does that figure, maybe it'll come out better, you know?
I heard somebody, maybe it was Slings, he heated up the eyes and just bent them into the head. Was that Slings?
I saw a comment of him mentioning that. I don't know if he actually did it yet.
I saw somebody in a group do that, and not only does it look better, but it's arguably closer to the source material. Because in the source material, John P. just said Slings did it. In the source material, it doesn't come off of his face that aggressively as it does in the figure. So I think if you just bend him back with some heat or some hot water or something, like you'll be good. Elton John glasses Spidey, yeah. But yeah, the wave is still weird. But I can definitely see the appeal. I can see that they're trying, like, because Spider-Man 800 was supposed to be like a monumental, milestone. Like they brought back Green Goblin, and then they really pulled stuff from old character arcs, and Green Goblin went through a character arc, Flash Thompson went through a character arc, and all these fucking people did. So it makes sense that they would pull from that issue to make it. It's just like their main demographic just wasn't fucking with it, mostly because it was on just weird bucks and the figures just look weird. Pretty much.
I'm so glad that I don't care about those or the comic or those characters, because that Red Goblin, like, how expensive is a bendy wire that you couldn't put a bendy wire in the tail?
That's whack, dude. I couldn't believe they didn't put a bendy wire in that tail.
How does it move? Or it doesn't move at all?
It's a kickstand. It's a kickstand.
There's not even a cut joint.
It doesn't even spin.
No, yeah.
Oh, damn.
That's the worst part.
You can't even remove it. You have to rip it out.
That was going to be my next question, was does it peg in at least?
No,
before
tear it off.
Before it was easy to give Hasbro the write-off when they would say, oh, we can't do bendy wires because of like safety issues with children. But they did it with what's his name? Machine Man.
Yeah, they sure did.
So it's obvious.
No.
Yeah, they did in his arms.
Yeah, the arms had bendy wire, definitely.
Oh yeah. Well, the plastic on it was so rigid it barely actually like allowed the bendy wire to bend.
Yeah, so that excuse of like, hey, for safety reasons, we're actually not allowed to do that anymore. It's a lie because they've done it. So
tits up, pretty much.
What the hell's the deal, man?
Yeah, who knows? That's the move. Well, you want to talk about Mezco real quick? Just one thing.
Yeah, what was it?
It's just Spider-Man. God, it's Popeye. Boog, you got it right. You said you got it right. Not even
Yeah,
here.
he did.
Yeah, yeah.
That packaging.
I was actually responding to a comment in the group, but yeah, I got it. Yeah, it's great. It's great figure.
Good.
Yep.
That packaging was fire or what?
Packaging was fire. Yeah, man, they did it's I can Mezco collectors get on my nerves sometimes with the box shit, but this right here is some shit that you might want to have one in one. You might want to have one to rock and one to stock with this one, because it's a very nice packaging and presentation. But it's not like once you open it, you know, you've ruined the packaging like that either too. It's very well done, man. It's they put a lot into putting this out, so I got to give them props for that.
I'm glad they didn't actually technically charge you more for it. It was still the same price as the retail Popeye.
Yeah, that too. So yeah, that was cool.
Great. Yes, it's one of their legacy lines. So it's their swan song, basically.
Yeah, somebody put up a photo in one of the groups that was the cross sell on the back of the old Mezco Popeyes, and they had a couple of different appearances, and they had the one that they've done, the classic, the white suit, and then there was one with a raincoat that's got people thinking.
Hell yeah.
Like a kind of like big brown, trench coat with the rain hat.
Rainy day Popeye. That's
right. Or when he's out there battling those squalls.
Wait. Say that again? Somebody made a raincoat for him?
No, there was an old cross sell of the old Mezco figures, and it had the white suit, the black suit that was the retail release, and then there was another version that they could possibly do that was like a raincoat.
Yeah, that would be dope. Actually, I could see that
kind of like classic yellow, brownish yellow rain suit.
Oh, speaking of which, too, I forgot to mention this in my latest update video on one of the videos. No, I wanted to mention it in the review for the white sailor suit Popeye. But last week, Mezco had sent out emails to press people that are going to be attending the press event at Toy Fair, and they said that I don't want to mess up Homeboy's name, but the dude that played I don't know. Damn, I gotta look at the email. Not the dude that played Punisher. No. But one of the guys from the Netflix Punisher show is going to possibly be at the booth, chopping it up with the fans at the Mezco booth. So that led me to believe that maybe the Toy Fair exclusive is Punisher related. But then somebody also brought up the fact that it could be another Popeye too. So.
That'd be kind of dumb if they had the guy, from Punisher, and then they released a Punisher, and then they're gonna have the dude sign figures.
It's not.
I thought about that too.
On the show that he's on.
Yeah, that crossed my mind too. So let me tell you the name of the actor, so I don't fuck this up too.
Did they by any chance in that email mention whether or not they're doing interviews?
John Bernthal?
They did not, but they. What's funny is that the tone of the email was like, you could talk to this dude, but don't talk to us. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It was weird. Like, ask him all the questions you want, but we are not going to be available for questioning.
We're just here to show you the toys and go home. Basically.
Seriously, I mean, somebody in the chat, Kick-Ass Zombies, even mentioned, why did the Mezco stop talking to fans at the toy shows? Like, it's so true. They couldn't care about anybody else there. They just want to get their money, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
When I went to LA Comic-Con, I was there early, 30 minutes early before the actual people came in. And I'm there with my press pass, and I swing by their booth first, and there's just one guy just on his phone, elbows on the counter. And I'm like, hey, man, what's up? You guys got any more of the Iron Man? He's like, no, man, we don't. And I'm like, Jesus, sorry to bother you. The show hasn't even opened yet. I'm probably the first person you've talked to today. And it's like acting like you've already got that question 100 times that day.
Was it just some dude, or was it?
It was probably a Mezco guy, but I'd never seen him before at San Diego, for example. And if he has been there, he's probably just been hauling boxes behind the scenes.
Man in the shadows.
Yeah, I don't know. He could be local too, but he was, I don't know, just this real big like white dude with a goatee.
It's Michael Nathanson who's the actor that's going to be there.
Oh, okay.
Michael Nathanson.
I think the problem with them doing interviews and speaking to fans and stuff like that is just that they just know, well, they don't know, they think that nothing good can come out of it and that they don't need it to sell their toys.
I guess that's true, but like
it sucks to look at things in that way, because I just I don't understand why you wouldn't want to connect with the people that buy your shit the most.
Oh, and to answer the person in the chat, according to one person, some dude that's on YouTube and who I had like a 3-day argument with, it's my fault that Mezco's not doing interviews anymore, basically. Some dude had commented on my video and said that I was the worst and I was mad rude to them and this and that, and I don't think that I was the worst or mad rude to them, but we had went back and forth for like a few days. It's still on my video if you want to go check it out. I don't erase the comments, so you could check out when I interviewed Pierre a couple years ago. As a matter of fact, P, you was there. You was the
I was behind the camera and everything.
So, but I don't know. Maybe they don't want to be confronted. Maybe they don't want to be asked, quote unquote, gotcha questions or whatever. I don't know.
It could have been that Pierre just kind of started doing the interviews, and then it started being a thing, and they kind of pulled him aside and was like, "Hey, we can't do this anymore."
Yeah, I think that's the most realistic thing, where he was just out there and he was like, "Yeah, I'll answer a few questions, whatever."
Yeah,
and then we probably got into some territory where like. They were asking a lot of, not just us, but like people were just asking him questions that he just couldn't answer, whether it be just because it's stuff that they're going to release later or stuff, and they just can't talk about it just because of NDA or something. And they were just all like, well, instead of just briefing everybody on this, let's just nix the interviews altogether.
Well, you know what? It doesn't have to be a situation where it's like a live interview or somebody, on spot shit. They could just put up poll questions on their site or ask the fans, or, it's still so many other ways that they could be finding out what the fans actually want. That doesn't have to
be a professional. Somebody asks you a question you don't want to answer, just literally tell them, I don't want to answer.
Oh, I can't. Yeah.
I can't answer that. Well, what are they going to tell you? Like, no, you're a fucking liar. Answer me.
How loyal and diehard Mezco fans are, I feel like they owe that at the very least and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
they love their Twitch live streams. That's how they revealed the New York exclusive this year.
Mm-hmm.
Do a fucking Twitch live stream where it's just the Mezco guys talking to camera. Hey, it's us. We're answering questions. Boom.
And they can pick and choose
once in a while.
Yeah. They get to pick and choose the questions they want to answer right there.
Yeah. And if you don't like the question, ignore it.
It's not just Mezco either. It's a lot of these brands that do this shit. They put themselves above everyone else, and they don't want to have to deal with any sort of drama that they think can be made. Like I said, I think before, Max Factory / Good Smile had like a whole division of their company that was all about doing interviews and asking them questions and like pushing them to get figures made. And they totally fired that entire division of Good Smile. And they don't do anything like that anymore. They don't want to be talked to. They don't want to ask no fucking questions. They don't tell people to quote unquote request figures to be released no more. They're just, it's crazy. These companies just, they think that they don't need to answer to anyone and they're just going to do whatever they want. It's wild.
Hashtag blame Boog.
Damn, it's all Boog's fault. That one time.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember you coming at him that strong. I mean,
no, not at all. I was just direct, but I do realize I'm not like oblivious to the fact that I am super direct, and some people could be taken aback by that. I'm not oblivious to the fact that I'm like super New York, and some people could be taken aback by that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Comic-Con. They're based in New York.
But it is what it is. It's not like
any bodega they go to, they get talked to like that.
Before and after, pretty much. Before and after, we were both like super like grateful and thankful, and like I don't feel like there was any like misconception that I don't feel like he felt like we were disrespectful to him in any way. Exactly. I didn't get that vibe at all. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I think what it just boiled down to was like we asked him tough questions that he just didn't have answers for. Like realistically, if you were working for Mezco and somebody came up to you in an interview and was like, "Why don't you put wires in your capes?" Like you want to give a good answer, right? But there's no way that you can there's no way that your answer of because we don't put wire in our capes sounds good at all, basically. So I think it was just like I said earlier, we just asked them questions that they just simply didn't have answers for, and there is no good way to spin the answers in terms of just good answers, I guess, quote unquote. That's how I see it, honestly.
Yeah, that's reasonable.
And I think from a PR perspective, especially for like not like new, but like new-ish, like it's better to just nix interviews altogether versus just training people on how to conduct an interview or how to like be in an interview. Like, so when we were interviewing like the cats at Bluefin Bug, like those guys are pros. Like if we asked them like something that was still a little under wraps, they'd, like right off the cuff, they'd be all like, "Hey, we'll answer it for you here, but just do us a favor and don't put it in the video and stuff like that."
Put it in.
Or do what Hasbro does, where they have the girl, the PR lady there recording your interview to make sure that I got you.
I think Hasbro is the gold standard just because they're such a huge company, and like when you get to that size, like you have no choice but to.
It's a very strict 10 minutes though.
Yeah.
No doubt. Hasbro's got it down packed though, as far as that goes. They'll tell you right off the bat, like, erase that shit. You can't use that. But
they just smashed your camera on site.
Basically.
So. Like the French police.
Yeah, basically, you can't film that.
Yeah, they see me coming. Dwight Stahl's gonna fucking shut that down real quick.
Like, yeah, give him 9 minutes.
9 minutes and 21 seconds.
Give him 9 minutes and pat him down for any
Todd.
female bucks.
Basically.
They're gonna want to see all my questions ahead of time. They're like, nope, can't ask that. Can't ask that.
Oh man.
So we a few minutes out, maybe like 10 minutes out before we're gonna bring Dave in. We'll just shoot the shit a little bit more, so you guys know. I know a lot of people are anticipating them coming in, but this is how our regular format is anyway. We just shortened our news list tonight because we knew that we're gonna chop it up with Dave. But anything else in the anybody in the chat got any news from this past week that we may have missed?
What about season 2 of Punisher? Anybody?
Oh shit, I forgot about that. Hell yeah.
I've not watched it actually.
Dude, they have the worst marketing ever. I didn't even know it came out.
Hell yeah.
Everybody that knows me knows I'm the guy that has too much fucking time on his hands. I know everything. I watch everything first. Anytime somebody wants to know something, I already watched it. I didn't know. Like that is how can I not know it came out? This is terrible marketing, man.
I didn't really try too hard to put it on. I'd heard, and then I just told my Google to like play season 2, and it was like, oh, it's not available yet, and I was like, okay, well,
I tried. That I've watched most of the Netflix Marvel shows on Netflix, and when I first log into my profile, how most of the time when stuff that they know that you're into will pop up and say, hey, this is new. I went through like every category searching, like, at first I went through the what's new category and it never showed up there. And
weird.
Like, yeah, I had to actively go to the search section and then type in Punisher for it to pull it up. And I was like, what the hell? Like, why are they making this so...
When they dropped Infinity War, it was that same type of thing too. You'd think that they would promote the hell out of, that movie, finally having it on Netflix and people being able to watch that shit at home as good as it did at the box office and shit. But you had to search for that as well. It wasn't even like one of the first things that came up on the homepage or anything like that. It's weird.
Yeah, well, I've watched the first 4 episodes and I'm having a hard time getting through it. It started off. For me, it started off bad, and it's just gone downhill from there. It's a struggle.
I've heard so many mixed things. Like, I've heard people say that they love that it's not just all killing. I've heard some people say that they hate that it's all not just all killing. And I don't know. I haven't watched it yet, so I can't comment on it. But
so what's he doing? Like he's like finding his softer side. He's like in the fucking Central Park, laying on a great.
He's disciplining. He's not punishing. Basically.
Don't do it again, or next time I'll really. Oh, I'm gonna do something. Jesus.
He fucking put the guns away. He's just got yardsticks slapping
Switches
on the hand.
Don't make me take off my belt. Oh shit, he's furious.
Oh man.
Check out a few episodes. Oh, before we had started too, I had talked about well, when we were in our private chat before we went live, I was talking about the Han Solo movie, which everybody was saying was the worst shit ever, and I didn't think it was that bad. I was watching it on Netflix last night.
Oh, it's way better than episodes 7 and 8 of Star Wars.
Yeah, I saw that it was. I saw that it was on Netflix as well. I verbally said, "Oh shit, this is on Netflix."
Or did you see it in the theater?
I did not, unfortunately.
Oh, you didn't see it at all yet?
No, I haven't seen it at all. But I'm stoked too. Like, I mean, it just sounds like just what you think that like a Star Wars story would be, just a story about smugglers and just outlaws, just in the Star Wars universe.
It was entertaining, man. Woody Harrelson was great. It was entertaining. I don't think any of us are those Star Wars dudes, you know, like those diehard dudes. So taking it too seriously,
For sure.
and, you know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
Yeah, we've been caught on guard here many times with Star Wars questions, and we're just like, I don't know.
I see people like boycotting episode 9 and shit already. Like, I don't know, man. Star Wars dudes are nuts, man.
They're crazy. If Mezco put out Star Wars figures, that'd be quite the.
Oh man,
that'd be quite the.
That and G.I. Joe. That'll never happen, but man.
Well, G.I. Joe.
I couldn't even think.
Can't even fathom.
Yeah, that would.
Honestly, even if Hasbro were the ones to kind of dip into the cloth goods game with a 6-inch G.I. Joe line, that would be something interesting.
Hey man, you know, Hasbro goes the license for Marvel and for Star Wars all goes up in the same year. So this time next year we'll know if they sign again. I mean, I don't think there's a reason for them not to, but their contracts for both of the licenses expire at the end of next year. So I mean, at the end of this year. So
yo, Mezco making Star Wars figures would make a new breed of collector weenie. Like, oh my god, yo, you wouldn't be able to please these dudes. You wouldn't be able to shut these dudes up. You wouldn't. It'd be bad, man.
Star Wars collectors are insane. Mezco collectors are insane. Put them together, and you're gonna get some shit.
Put them together, you get Transformers collectors.
And there's in there.
They're the type of people.
Or Hot Wheels dudes too.
They would hate on everything Mezco would do, and then when anybody would talk bad about them, they'd be like, "Hey, who the fuck do you think you are, clown?"
Only like that.
Fans of anything are the biggest haters, though.
The only way I can see Hasbro not making Star Wars or Marvel figures anymore is if Disney buys Hasbro.
That could happen.
But then again, it's still it's still Hasbro.
Let me ask you this, Todd. Do you find toys entertaining?
Entertaining?
Yeah, like are you entertained by Star Wars and Marvel figures by Hasbro?
Entertaining.
Like are you entertained by them? Do you enjoy them? Do you consume them for entertainment?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, then Disney must possess that.
Yeah, there you go.
Wouldn't it be the other way around? If Disney owned Hasbro, then they would definitely have like rights to those things forever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But then they're not. It's not a matter of paying for a license. You know what I mean?
Then it's the same case as Transformers and G.I. Joes. They don't ever lose it. They don't have to spend on a license or answer to anyone because they are them.
Yeah. I mean, it's all I mean, everything would be approved in-house. And I mean, I don't know, but that's what's so crazy, that Hasbro doesn't make 6-inch G.I. Joes, because they own the license. It's pure profit for them.
Yeah, I think when Boog interviewed them and asked, their thing was, well, when the next movie comes around, we'll see. That they wanted something to attach G.I. Joe to, but I don't think it needed that. I know that that's what they're going to have to tell people to sell the idea to the men upstairs, but they don't need the movie to sell.
I think their big mistake is thinking that G.I. Joe is going to be this thing that they can sell to kids again. Like, G.I. Joe is very much a product of, like, the 80s and, like, you know, the Reagan era, and, like, it's for 80s babies. The only people who still like G.I. Joe are people who liked G.I. Joe growing up. There's no new G.I. Joe fans being created.
Well,
and the movie's not going to change that. You need to just make products for the existing fans and make it as good and as expensive as possible.
I'm sure they've done tons of market research, and they've seen that, you know, most parents are not into the idea of selling war-based toys. You know what I mean?
Yeah. War isn't sexy to kids.
Yeah.
They make them sad.
Yeah.
Hey, does Snake Eyes do the floss dance when he assassinates someone? Or
Right. The world's changed. Like, you know, kids grow up with, you know, quote unquote Cobra operatives in their classrooms these days. if you look at the G.I. Joe view of the world.
Yeah.
The ultimate solution was the rumored move of putting them in Transformers.
That would be the fucking solution.
That is the ultimate solution. 100%. I
don't know if you guys mentioned this. I had trailed off for a second, but you know that we're supposed to be having that Snake Eyes movie coming out sometime.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good possibility we're gonna see some new Joes.
I mean, I think the idea was for Hasbro to kind of create their own cinematic universe.
Yeah.
And I think they could do that, especially now that Transformers is kind of, you know, soft reboot and is kind of set in the 80s.
Yep.
And you could totally do it and go full 80s with it and have, like, you know, you have Transformers and you have G.I. Joe, and then this new villain comes around in the form of Mask, who are operatives that have transforming vehicles. So now your existing operative universe has to combine with the transforming robot universe, and boom, G.I. Joe and Transformers versus Mask.
I heard Bumblebee was actually really cool.
I did too.
It was great.
yeah, it's on Plex, Boog, if you want to check it out.
Okay.
Wait, did you watch it?
No, I'm gonna watch it tonight. Actually,
how about you, Todd? Did you watch it or no?
No, I'm not a Transformers.
Yeah.
You know, the perfect answer to doing this 6-inch line is just do a 3-figure wave. Obviously, you have more in the case, but just do a 3-figure wave of Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, and Red Ninja. Double pack all 3 of them, so you have a 6-figure case, and that's like the best test. Like, you don't have to make; they can all be the exact same mold, so you don't have to keep making a bunch of new ones. And you test and see how that does. It's the perfect happy medium.
It's not a bad idea, but I don't think so. They gotta have the like the Anglo-Saxon hero representation. It's not gonna happen without that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's gonna have to show up in the Snake Eyes movie then. I just thought that they would keep it like really Snake Eyes centric.
Yeah.
But I guess, like, you know, just like there's Marvel Legends waves with half movie, half comic. I guess it does make sense that they would have somebody that might not even be in the film.
Who knows?
We'll never know.
So I think that was pretty much it from this past week, right? We were here.
Basically. You want to talk that Spider-Man trailer, I guess?
Oh yeah,
right. Yeah.
How about that? What'd you guys think?
No pictures though. Sorry.
We can do pictures, but we can't do video.
Oh, okay.
I can pull up a still.
Cool.
But there's really no reason to pull up.
I mean, there was actually 2 trailers. There was the U.S. one that gave away the whole damn movie, and then the international one.
Yeah. I thought the international one was cut better for sure.
Yeah. It was better. It was way
Except
better.
For that horrible ADR at the end where he was like, "Sup, loser."
Yeah.
Dude, I actually completely disagree. I think that the American one was fucking weird. I watched the American one and I was like, "What the fuck? This is a Disney movie. Like, what are you doing?"
Well, that's what we're saying. Yeah, the American one was weird. The international one was better.
Yeah,
okay.
just
I
that
think you
ADR is strange.
Yeah.
Because you know it's ADR because you saw it already.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? Like this is
Oh.
a Disney film?
You guys want some hot news, hot off the presses?
Uh-oh.
Holy shit! Reddit just came through with some gold. There are some leaked Avengers Endgame figures.
Oh yeah, we saw them a few hours ago. Those are pretty crazy.
The Titan heroes and the some of the more like kitty figures.
But yeah, pull up.
I got you. It's already pulled up.
Pull up.
Pull up on these fools.
That Ronin. I mean, even
Todd,
just
minimize this shit if you don't want to see it too.
I don't want to be spoiled.
These are some Titan heroes.
I want to know what country that's in because those prices look fucking ridiculous. What country is this?
That's Venezuela.
Oh man. With that inflation, no, that's generous.
Yeah, that's Thailand, maybe. I don't know.
Come on, man! Everybody knows a figure's $400,000.
Someone's saying Philippines. Scroll up to a price real quick. What is that? It
says VND.
No, that's not Philippines.
Yeah, Philippines is pesos, my friend.
Yeah, pesos, my guy. 55 pesos to the dollar. So
That's interesting right here. Ronin.
So, yeah, we're gonna get into let's get into theories, boys. Someone says Vietnam. There you go. Boom. Yeah,
okay.
makes sense.
Viet boys back at it again.
Valkyrie. Hey now. That's interesting.
Valkyrie in the mix. So the thing I noticed about these is everybody that has these tech suits on is everybody that survived the snap, pretty much. It's cool to see. I think they confirmed that Valkyrie did survive. You just didn't see her on screen surviving, but you can see that she has that shit on as well.
Yeah, the directors were asked somewhere, and they're like, "Yeah, Korg and Valkyrie are alive. If you didn't see them dead, they're not dead."
Yeah,
kind of answers what they
gave. I think it was mentioned that she left with the 50% of the Asgardians that weren't killed on board.
Yeah, she sure did. Yeah.
Because it's smart anyways. You split the fleet in half, so if one gets destroyed, the other still lives.
Yeah, that's why it seemed like everybody on the ship with Thor was dead, is because that's like the ones that didn't get away with Valkyrie.
Scroll down. Someone was saying that Star-Lord has that suit on. Does he? No, he just has regular shit on.
Just letting you guys know, if you guys aren't watching the chat, Dave is gonna come through like at any minute now.
Yeah,
very true. The last thing I'll say about this is potential spoilers if I'm right, but I think that these suits are detriment to them traveling or something to like pull people or to reverse the effects of the snap, because it's just everybody is wearing these suits. I think Hank,
they're Pym suits.
Yeah, they're Pym suits for sure, because Hank Pym is wearing the exact same suit. I think he'll develop them. They'll probably go into the microverse, and they'll use Janet Van Dyne to like phase people out of whatever happened to the snap. So.
Yeah.
Did I hear this week that they went through like some extreme lengths or are going to be going through some extreme lengths, so there won't be any spoilers and shit? The studio, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I know the trailer that had come out is apparently only footage from the first like 20, 30 minutes of the movie. 20.
They said every trailer will only show the first 20 minutes of the film.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, I'm with that.
Then they got home. Then they got Far From Home, fucking everything up.
Right.
Basically.
That's how we know. Basically, we saw Mysterio with the fucking fishbowl. That's all you need to know.
John P says, "Isn't Pym dust?" I think Janet Van Dyne.
Oh yeah, they are dust.
I think Janet Van Dyne will find a way to phase herself out of wherever that snap transported them to, and she'll phase her, Pym, and their daughter out too, and help whoever come out, and that's why then he'll develop the suits and all that shit. Oh, it's just wild speculation at this point.
Yeah. You had me there and you lost me.
You never know. Look at Hulk with the shape up.
Usually it's Lego doing the spoiling, huh?
Right. Yeah, Titan Heroes fucking it up. You remember when Titan Heroes spoiled that? Ooh, interesting. Titan Heroes spoiled Age of Ultron also, because they had that talking Ultron figure that had like phrases from the movie, and they spoiled that Black Panther was in it and all that shit.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it could have nothing to do with the movie too. It could just be like, let's put them in these suits for promo.
Could be. You never know.
But this is the Cap art that we saw. There was that leaked team shot, and this was the Cap image from that team shot.
They did also throw us for a loop with Infinity War as far as like showing shit for the trailer that never showed up in the movie.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like Hulk running in the lineup and everything.
Yeah,
the Hulk.
Even Ragnarok did the same thing with, you know, Hela breaking the hammer. It looked like it was happening somewhere completely different.
The streets.
At the end, when he's missing the eye, when he powers up.
She's gonna glue all the Pym dust together. God damn.
Stupid.
Hilarious.
But I'm definitely excited for the movie. I keep getting.
What do you think of the trailer, though, Boog? You're a Spider-Man fan. You're a Spider fan.
I don't know. It didn't knock my socks off. It didn't make me feel special. I don't know.
Damn. The one, it was way better.
You said what?
You watched the international one? It was way better.
I only saw the one that came out first, and then within like 5 minutes of the trailer being out, they had all of the fucking spoilers. I mean, all of the Easter eggs and shit. I'm like, what the? Who's doing this? What the hell?
Rockstars, baby.
And I think some of those are just thrown in for the trailer too. I doubt we'll actually see them as such in the movie.
For what were we saying?
Like, there's some Easter eggs that look like they were just like pasted on for the trailer. Like, it probably won't be like that in the movie.
Or like
when they pass by the boat and it says Amazing Spider-Man 212, it looked like, you know, it didn't look like it was part of the scene. It looked like it was superimposed on.
Interesting. For stuff like that, I could see them keeping it for the movie, but that passport not having any of the dates on it, like that's intentionally for the trailer. I guarantee you.
So a few things, you know, about the Easter eggs that people are talking about. They're saying, you know, was that Hydro Man? It's seemingly like the official statement, I think, is that they're calling these villains the Elementals. But that Easter egg I talked about, Amazing Spider-Man 212, is the issue that's apparently the first issue, the first appearance of Hydro Man.
Yeah.
And there's another one later on that's the first appearance of Molten Man.
Yep.
So, you know, those are things we saw in the trailer, and it could be that they're giving the overall, you know, Elementals team name to these, you know, sub-villains.
Yeah.
I feel like I have that comic book, the first appearance of Molten Man. It was my dad's book.
Keep it on nice.
I gotta look that shit up. No, that shit, it's not in good condition. It's not worth anything. But.
Gently, heavily loved. Just list it like heavily loved. I will say that there's only one thing I care about in this movie, and it's Jake Gyllenhaal putting on a fake Spider-Man suit so he can live up to his dreams of playing Peter Parker like he was supposed to in Spider-Man 2. That's all I care about.
I just want a live action version of the Spider-Man pointing at each other meme.
I guarantee you they're not afraid to shy away from that at all.
Gosh, I would love that so much.
Man, it was so funny. The other day, my brother really wanted to watch those like old videos on YouTube, and I saw that scene on complete accident. It was a Mysterio episode on.
It is, yeah. So I mean, I don't know if we want to get into speculation, but basically, I think Mysterio's playing a good guy, but he's actually behind it all.
Yeah, I guarantee you. That's
it's just, you know.
I think that he's playing a good guy. Nick Fury is there to recruit him.
Right.
And then he's like, aha, surprise, bitch, It was me all along.
I also thought that the scene with Ned walking into the room behind Peter and then he gets trank darted in the neck. Oh, that was hilarious. I love the role of Nick Fury superimposed as this, like, you know, this super spy that just does spy shit in a very like mundane setting. Like, he doesn't need to do that at all.
Can you talk about Ned getting cuffed up?
No, dude, right?
My man is out here cupcaking on a trip.
That's it.
Man,
that's the girl from the what do you call it? From the news, like that in-school news report that they had. That's like the girl from that, I believe.
Really?
It is. The more you know, basically.
My man got himself a TV woman.
I think overall it looks good. I just hope it's good, man. Basically, I know Rick, you and I and David Walton, we had like a huge conversation about the absence of Uncle Ben. What do you feel like? Do you feel like they need to incorporate Uncle Ben at all at this point, or what do you guys think?
I don't feel like they need to. I know so many people feel the opposite. I don't know, man. We just seen it so many times. It's not a big deal. It's just like with Batman and the death of his parents. Like, I don't need to see that again. I don't need to see him getting surrounded by bats in a cave anymore when he's a child. Like, I don't need those images anymore. I understand what it is. It would be nice to have Peter like throw in like an "I miss Uncle Ben," just a quick line, just so we can have something. But I don't need like a "I'll never forget that night that I failed Uncle." Like, I don't need that. I don't need that again because I've seen it so many times.
Let's get a happy Spider-Man. You know, I don't want him at another funeral.
Yeah, for sure.
If you thought this was a happy story,
someone lied.
Someone lied.
The story can be sad, but Spider-Man can be, a little chipper.
I think I'm with John in chat. Like, Ricky already know because we talked about this earlier, but I think we don't need to see Uncle Ben's death or any of that shit. We're past that, obviously. But I'm in the camp where I can't imagine a version of Peter Parker where he doesn't feel anything about Uncle Ben. Like I want him to at least talk about it or have a conversation with somebody where he just acknowledges it or something.
Seeing Happy with May made me think like, oh, maybe this will bring up like, what about Uncle Ben?
Hey, what's happening?
Yeah.
Oh,
hey, what's up, Dave?
Oh, I'm glad that worked, man. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's happening? Sorry about that.
All good, all good. Glad to have you in. So we were just stalling, waiting for you to come in, man. But thank you so much for doing this, Dave.
Thank you for having me.
No doubt.
How's everybody doing?
Good,
We're doing, man. We're talking Spider-Man.
We're good.
Doing.
So yeah, man. We just wanted to actually jump in and talk a little bit about your history and kind of maybe introduce you to some of our younger viewers, maybe that don't even know who you are. But you want to start with the I guess where you grew up, where you're from originally, the basic.
Yeah, we know who you are, but introduce yourselves to the young audience.
I don't know. Well, I guess I can start from the beginning. I'm originally from Atlantic City, New Jersey, and I was a kid just like any other kid back in the day. I'm 46 years old, so growing up in the late 70s and early 80s and everything, and throughout the 90s and everything, I was a kid that went to 7-Eleven or to the bookstore and got their comic books, and me and my friends, we would go, hit up 7-Eleven or hit up a comic book store called Beachcomber, or actually it was in another place I would go called Connie's Newsstand. It was like an adult, like it was kind of like a mob hangout, it was they had like the adult section in the back, but I think it was actually owned by like the mob and all that. But it was like a news magazine stand, and they had the adult magazines and all that, and like cigar magazines and tattoo magazines. And back then, like the tattoo magazine, it was all it was all covered up in paper bags and everything, like a brown envelope or something. But amongst all that, he would have like packs of comic books that you can buy, like six for 25 cents. And really, me and my best friend, we were like really the only kids that would go in there and get it. So the guy knew us, and he would just like let us buy them and then get extra ones and stuff like that. But yeah, I was really just a kid that was into comic books and cartoons and toys. Growing up, my mom was into all that stuff, comic books and stuff. So it was always around. And comic books was always around, and during that time, cartoons were, laws were kind of being passed regarding cartoons and the content and all that other stuff. So they really started to get crazy and action packed, but really geared towards, the kids' psyche and all that. But also too, it was like, TV shows like the $6 Million Man, and it was like a lot of action shows, and Battlestar Galactica and Star Wars was just coming up. So it was just a fun time to be a kid back then, man. It was a lot that was brand new. Like now is different. Now like every movie is a blockbuster and has all this high budget, effects and all that. But back in the day, it wasn't like that, you know, and so it was like a special treat, you know, in a way when you would get to see a decent movie or something with some good effects, or you know, but it was really the stories of what really drove the content back in the day. So I guess why, you know, I guess people from a different generation kind of view certain movies and stuff a particular way now. But
did comic books or reading comic books and looking at comic books, is that what originally got you into art or kind of sparked your artistic abilities?
I mean, well, when I was a kid, you know, drawing was always like it was like an amazing thing to see someone draw. You know, like my mom's boyfriend used to draw. He would draw. Actually, he would draw me these my book covers for school, and he would draw like Flash versus wow, my mind is slipping. Flash versus
Quicksilver,
Wizard or somebody like that, you know, or like he did Aquaman versus Namor, you know, or like he would do like DC versus Marvel guys and all that, but it was always like the Marvel guys are always winning, you know. So but that was just always amazing to me, and plus, like, you know, when I grew up, it was like, you know, it was kind of like my basketball, you know, that was my football, that was my way, that was my thing that I had in the hood. So if you said that you had a particular skill like drawing or something like that, people will put you on the spot, like, I will draw right now. If you couldn't, you get beat up, you know. Like that's how it was back then, you know, like it was competitive, you know, and so it was something that just amazed me. And I kind of like, and also too, this is when hip hop was coming up, so graffiti was really still underground, but it was amazing to have see all this underground art, you know, and these guys risking their lives or, you know, breaking the law just to get their art out there, you know. So just seeing all that was just dope. And then, you know, and with the comic books, it was just even more mind blowing because the art was just so real to me. You know, the styles, different type of styles that I would see, like from John Byrne or Bob Layton, Bernie Wrightson, you know, all those different types of styles was just so fascinating. It was like, to me, it was like hip hop, you know, it was like lyrics to me, you know. So like how everyone had their favorite rapper, I had my favorite artist, you know, and that's how my mindset was towards it.
No doubt, it's relative for sure. The hip hop comparison, as far as people having a style and you being able to pick them out just by hearing a flow or hearing something that they might say. It's the same thing with the art, seeing a certain artist and you know right off the bat, you know. My experiences was very similar. I could relate, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it was you know, again, because, you know, it was something that was all underground culture. Comic books was something that wasn't mainstream, and hip hop wasn't mainstream, and, you know, the things that we were into weren't mainstream. You know, the cartoons, the movies, you know, everything that we did was kind of underground, you know. So or just really wasn't even in existence yet. It wasn't what it was or what it became, you know. So you know, it was a different time, so everything was pretty fascinating back then. So, but everything just captivated my imagination.
Where'd you go to high school and then on to college?
I went to high school. I grew up in Atlantic City, and then but I always went to it's a town next over. The next town over is Pleasantville, and you know, my grandmother lived there, so I always went there on the weekends. And then I eventually moved there, like in my 8th grade year, because Atlantic City, where I grew up in the projects, it got too bad. Like this, crack started being introduced, but really, like, everyone started to like get real sexual and everything. And then my mom moved us out, so I was so pissed. You know, I was like, everyone was losing their virginity but me.
Atlantic City is notorious, man. Back in the day, it was pretty rough up there, man. I know that for certain.
You know, it's funny, man. It's like growing up where you grow up, you never know. Other people tell you that it's rough, but when you grow up there, you don't really know that it's rough until you leave, you know. And it's even more sad now, man, because a lot of where I grew up, man, is like the projects, they're torn down now, you know, and the high school I went to, Pleasantville High School, you know, is torn down now. My old art school is torn down. So it's like parts of my history, you know, my past are like torn down or kind of going away. And it's like, you know, wow, it's like the only way to really pass some of the stuff on is by the old way, you know, by telling stories about it, you know, describing it, and you know, things like that.
Where'd you go to college?
But I went to college to the Art Institute of Philadelphia, and there, man, that's when I just got introduced to like a lot of just different types of artists, and actually it was this kid, it was this rapper named this DJ named Miz, and he had won this contest from Yo MTV Raps. It was Fresco and Miz, and they had they won this contract, this recording contract. So Miz was there, and then all these Hilltop Hustlers was there, and the Art Institute had this music and video program. So it was a lot of guys trying to get into music there. It was like the first year of music and video. And so this was 1990, man. So this is just when the comic book the comic book industry just kind of flipped, you know, with Image Comics and all that, and McFarlane started off, and you know, it was around that time, you know, and that was like crazy. We
were just talking about this last week about when we started getting into comics. In 1990 is when I started collecting comics. I was 10 years old though at that time.
wow. Yeah, man. That was my first year in college, man. That's when everything changed, like with Malibu Comics and all that. And it was like the color, because they started printing on a different type of paper.
Yep.
And they started using Photoshop like for the first time, and it was like, damn, like everything was just different.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, man, you know, everyone give him crap now. You know, they joke about him, about Rob Liefeld and all that. But back in the day, you know, when he was on New Mutants and all that, and then he left, and you know, when he started his thing with Image, everybody was jocking it. I don't care who you were. Everybody was on it. You know, everybody was on that. And it was hot at that time.
Yeah, no question. It's funny because that's how I started doing a little bit of art as well, is mimicking different artists' style from the comic books and trying to just recreate the cover and draw a freehand, you know, just kind of looking at it too. So
it really was the most like 90s move ever too. That's like some WCW NWO shit.
It was because it was almost like it was almost like in a way it was like hip hop, because you know, the guys who did comic books prior to that, those were from an older generation, you know, and you know, these guys were like fine artists and stuff. And then now you had all these young guys coming into the game breaking rules, and they didn't do, you know, they didn't illustrate the traditional way, you know, they didn't tell a story the traditional way. Everything was just different. And that was like graffiti, which is of hip hop, and to me, like, that was just like this whole revolution that was happening. And I swear, man, it was like, to look back on that stuff, I mean, I was just like amazed at it. And then it segued into the toy revolution with McFarlane doing his thing with the toys. And I was just like, I was blown away.
Yeah, you know what? When McFarlane started putting out all of his Spawn stuff and those figures and stuff during that time, that was right before Marvel Legends started coming out.
It was before that. It was before that, but when that happened, Image had the game on lockdown. They had it on lockdown.
Yeah.
Image was getting all my money. They would get my money with the comics, and then, you know, with the toys. I mean, it was like hand over fist. It was
those toys for a long time were everything. I remember they would be what everybody wanted to wait outside for at a Target in the morning. It wasn't the Hot Wheels. It was the shit the new McFarlane case is in.
Man, that was a time period like no other, especially because it was how you can get it. You know, this is when Suncoast Video was around. You know, you know, like Spencer Gifts would had stuff, and that's who I was. That was my first design job, was Spencer Gifts, man. And when all that stuff was coming out, it was like, I mean, my mind was like just being blown. I was actually that was influencing my designs for Spencer. So I was doing like masks and shit, like I'm sorry to cuss. I'm sorry.
No, you cool. We curse all the time. You good?
Oh, good. So I was doing like Halloween masks and stuff, and like lava lamps and everything, and actually around that time, man, that's when we were doing the Kiss reunion tour was happening, and we did these giant Kiss dolls along with Art Asylum, and that's when I first met Digger Mesh, man, and like Spencer's, we distributed the dolls, but along with the Kiss dolls, like we did a whole like Kiss slippers and Kiss teddy bears and wine goblets and all this Kiss stuff that I designed. Me and my boss designed, right? And you know, I met Digger, and Digger wanted to meet the whole art team, and the whole art team was just me and my boss. But you know, back in the day, there was also Wizard magazine, Toy Fair magazine.
Yep.
What was it? Action Figure magazine. And Digger had just had a big write up, you know, in one of them, man. And he just, when I met when I finally met him, he came down to Spencer's to meet about the Kiss stuff, and I had just read about him in one of the magazines. And to me, man, that was like Mickey Mantle meeting Babe Ruth or something like that, or you know, you know what I'm saying, like Tom Brady meeting Joe Montana. You know, to me that I didn't know that I was going to go along the path that I was going to go on, but that was like my hero at that time, man. And to meet him was just like crazy. You know, it was nuts because the dude just oozed. He oozed creativity. You know, you just wanted to do something. You just wanted to draw, sculpt, do something with him. And he just had this whole attitude, man. Was just like, man, he just wanted to buck the system. You know, he wanted to do things the traditional way, and that was just like, again, going back to hip hop. You know, that's always something that struck a chord with me, doing things on an orthodox way. You know, so he just gave me the confidence to like really seek out going into toys, man. And I'm sorry, I'm sitting outside, but I'm shivering a little bit because it's starting to get windy. But so if you can hear it in my voice. But then I just ventured off into toys, man. But it was Digger, that dude, like totally inspired me. He's a really cool cat, and he's a real good friend too, man. He's a good brother.
Real quick before we dive into toys and the toy industry and stuff, I just want to ask you like tell us a couple of like shitty jobs you had before you figured out what you want to be doing, and you know, before you went into the industry.
Yo, I had a lot of them, man. I used to work in at Payless shoe store. I used to work, man. It was funny because my best friend, he's like, man, Dave could never hold down a damn job, like, because I didn't like being told what to do, you know. So and plus, like, my first job was actually, me and my best friend, we started cutting grass. So we had a lawn service, and we were making good money, you know, and that was for myself. And so when I was 13, I was, you know, making my own money, buying my own comic books and stuff. So getting a job was just like, man, I gotta wait all this time for a little bit of money, you know. So I was working in the casino. No, actually, I was working in an Atlantic City Convention Center in the garage. And that's why I met my boy Nelson Gaines. He actually has he's an artist too. And what is it? Hustle and Art, I think his thing is called, but Hustle and High Art. But he's he's a dope like graffiti artist, man. So we just met there and started vibing. Was drawing like in the the time log and all that. Like we had to log in like what was going on throughout the shift and what we did cleaning up. We would draw all this stuff and draw graffiti all in the book and all that. But then I used to work in a casino and I was a dealer. I was a blackjack dealer. I was a poker dealer for a while because my mom worked at the Sands and she was a pit boss. So you know, in Atlantic City, working in casinos is like, you know, being in a small town, in a steel mill town. Like everyone works there. So, you know, I did that. And, man, I worked, it was a store called Wawa. I worked at Wawa for a little bit. But, you know, you pay your dues, you know what I'm saying? But I kind of always had a little job, but, you know, you pay your dues along the way.
Mm-hmm.
So where did you go to school that eventually led you to the Spencer Gifts job?
I was at the Art Institute of Philadelphia.
Okay.
And actually, man, what happened was when I was in school, you know, it almost got derailed because I was with some friends and we wound up getting in trouble and you know, almost went to jail for almost 10 years, you know. And it really, like, you know, I sunk to a real bad, deep depression. Like looking back on it now, you know, it was like, you know, a really bad depressive state, you know, and you know, so, but I didn't know it at the time. But I was just like really just, you know, in a funk, you know. Eventually came out of that, but you know, I had to stop going to school because it just messed me up a little bit. But then eventually I wound up going back. And so yeah, I went to the Art Institute of Philadelphia, and then actually, like right after I graduated, there was an ad in the newspaper for a product designer position for Spencer Gifts, which was right around the corner from where I lived in New Jersey. And I just went in there, man, and I actually took my whole portfolio and scrapped it and redid my portfolio over the weekend and did like a bunch of stuff at the time that Spencer's was about, you know, like Star Trek and mystery stuff and, you know, fart jokes and all that stuff. And so I kind of loaded my portfolio up with stuff like that and went in and got the job, you know, and I mean, that was like amazing. I could not believe it, like that I actually made it. And I remember sitting down at my desk, my drawing table, and I had markers there, and my computer was there, and sketch pad. And I'm like, wow. And I just called my mom. I was like, you know, Mom, I'm here sketching. She's like, what are you doing? I said, I'm doodling, sketching. She said, you getting paid to sketch? I'm like, yeah. And I said, what are you drawing? I was like, I'm designing the Elvis clock. She said, really?
Oh my god!
So
Spencer Gifts thing.
yeah. So you know that was dope. It was dope.
All right. So how long after that did you I guess get involved with Toy Biz? How'd that whole thing come about?
Well, I was at Spencer's and then I met Digger, and then Digger was like, man, you need to just I was designing we were doing a whole bunch of stuff. We did all the stuff for the Kiss reunion tour, and I think my phone is going to die in a little bit, guys. But let me see.
That might save your battery having a camera.
Good. You can still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. So, anyway, I don't know. My phone is bugging. Anyway. You can hear me though, right?
Yeah, we can hear you fine.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, after I talked to Digger, we were doing a whole bunch of stuff for Kiss reunions tour, and then we started doing stuff for Ozzy Osbourne, and this is right before the Ozzy Osbourne show and all that. And he was gearing up to do his whole. He was Ozzy. Sharon was bringing him back and getting his Ozfest together. So I was designing an Ozzy Osbourne Crazy Train incense burner.
Ozman cometh, baby.
Yeah, it was wild because I was designing all the stuff based off of Ozzy Osbourne's lyrics, you know. So I did this Howl at the Moon, Lava Lamp, and all that other stuff. So I was doing this Crazy Train instant burner, and I met Digger, and Digger was like, "Damn, like the attitude in there is pretty dope." So he was like, "Yo, man, you need to, you know, think about designing toys, and you know, it just that when he said that, it just rung in my head. So like about 6 months later, I wound up quitting, and then I went to a toy company designing preschool toys called Shellcore Toys, and it was like it was horrifying. But you know, I went from designing, you know, Kiss and Ozzy Osbourne to doing like baby stuff and, you know, infant toys, and it was, but also like the owners were just, it was horrifying, man. It was a mess. But then from there, it was an ad in the paper again for with Toy Biz, and I just went through my portfolio together, man. Went up there, and I was nervous as hell. And I went up there, and they had just moved their offices too. So I go up there, and I actually walk into the office with my portfolio, and I see like Jesse walking down the street, walking down the hallway, but I didn't know that was him. Mm-hmm. I saw Jesse Falcon. So then he was looking all pissed and everything. I was like, damn, man, that dude, he looked like really intense. Like he looked so intense. And I'm sitting there, so then. And then he walked back, and that's when we caught eyes, and he kind of just like nodded, hey, and I was like, all right, hey, what's up? And then I saw Damon, and he walked through, Damon Nee, and then I wound up having an interview, and then wound up having a few more, and then eventually got the job, and I was just like, I mean, man, throughout that whole entire time, I was praying my eyeballs off, man, because this was Marvel, you know, and Toy Biz had just bought Marvel out of bankruptcy, you know, and it was just like amazing. So when I finally, you know, got the call that I was on board and everything, man, I mean, to me that was like playing in the NBA, and then you finally, you know, I'm being in college and all that, then you finally get drafted in the NBA, you know, or like getting by the NFL. Like I was just like, I was done.
What was the structure like back then? Like Jesse was still the head person there, or what was the?
I mean, it was Jesse and Damon. They basically did divvied up Spider-Man and Marvel and like Marvel Classic, like Marvel comic book stuff and Spider-Man comic book. It was basically Damon handled everything that was Spider-Man, and Jesse did everything that was Marvel. Okay. But then it was also like a mix of how like the movie stuff was, and you know, it was just a mix. But basically, Marvel, Jesse and Damon, they handled the bulk of it, and it was kind of divvied up that way. And actually, when we first started,
was this?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
Just to clarify for the audience, this was right around you know, the beginning of the Toy Biz era of Marvel Legends.
Yeah. Yep, this is right before that, and this is when Joe Quesada was like kind of named editor-in-chief, like also around that time too.
Okay.
So we're talking real early 2000s here.
Yeah, early back then.
Just keep the timeline for the audience to follow along here.
And yeah, because actually, me and Joe Quesada, we had our you know, when you first get hired and you have your whole thing, the orientation. We had our orientation there. So it was actually me, Joe Quesada, and this other designer for Toy Biz named Steven Sumner. And this dude was like, wow, oh man, my phone died.
Nah, we still hear you. Oh, we did. All right, I'm gonna talk to Dave in the chat and see if we could get him back.
Sure.
But let me see. But yeah, keep talking, guys. We're good. What was we talking about before he came on?
Let's get some thoughts on what he said so far. I mean, the guy's you know, he paid his dues for sure.
Yeah,
man, it's so funny he says that. Growing up in that era, just remembering going to fucking Suncoast and to Tower Records and to Sam Goody and
when Spencer still had toys and not the toys they have now.
Oh God, the toys they have now, Jesus Christ.
They even sell toys? Oh, okay. I never talked.
Do they even sell? Oh, yeah.
I thought you appreciated subtlety.
Damn, I'm too innocent for this world.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny hearing them talk about magazines and shit like Wizard and like we depended a lot on print media back then and shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think we think about how fast shit changed over in this internet age. Like, you know what I mean? But
he got the Spencer's job through the newspaper. Who does that?
Right. Yeah, that shit. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, even like looking in an ad in a newspaper is nuts. You know what I'm saying? Thinking about that now. But it was real. Like,
it's so funny thinking about like things that we do now. Like, oh man, you see that guy on Instagram posted this figure's coming out, or that the shoe is getting released. When I had to buy a specific shoe magazine, I had to buy a specific toy magazine to know those things. Or somebody had to bring it from school. Like, dude, look what my mom bought me when we were at the grocery store. It was the Wizard magazine. Like, oh shit.
Hell yeah. If you went anywhere with your like on a trip or some shit like that, you was hitting up the newsstand to try to get some reading material to get you through. Fucking Wizard, Toy Fair, all types of shit, Nintendo Power, all of that type of shit, you know?
Oh, yeah. Man, one of the regular things I got at every, we'd have like the big family reunion Christmas, and there would be the gift exchange for individual members of the extended family. And every year I always got like Game Informer and Nintendo Power magazine subscriptions. So I had like, easily 5 years worth of magazines built up because every year they would just refresh their subscription.
Yeah, my thing was that I would do the same thing every year, and it would totally piss off my mom. One day, she would just open the mail, and she'd be like, "Who the fuck is paying for Nintendo Power?" I was like, "What? You?
You? What are you talking about?
You?
I'm paying my way, okay?
I pay for Nintendo Power," and I'd be like, you gave me the money to send in. When? Like,
Nintendo Powers are mad cheap back in the day.
Yeah, they were mad cheap, but I mean, still, your parent paying that shit monthly or a year, like,
And back then, it was a bi-monthly magazine back then too. You weren't even getting a magazine every month.
And you know what? It was only damn, I'm trying to remember how much the year subscription was.
I think it was $12, I think. Or something.
Yeah, it might have been something cheap. Like it might have been $24, maybe. I think that was even expensive. I don't even think it was that much.
I think it was actually like $12.99 for the subscription. I remember I was able to pay for it by reaching into back in the day, back in the 90s. This was like the most common thing to have. My mom had a giant plastic Coca-Cola bottle.
Stealing money.
And she used to throw coins in that bitch. And so whenever I needed money and I didn't want her to notice, I would dig my little ass chubby hand in there and reach in for coins and then close that bitch back up like, she won't know. She won't know.
Dave is plugged back in. Invite him. I'm gonna invite him again, so we should be good in a few moments here.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Nintendo Power was $12 for 12 issues.
Boom. I know.
Wow.
Like that.
That's crazy. But yeah, so that means that obviously you saved by doing the subscription. But yeah, I think the magazines were probably like $2.95 each in the store, or $1.95 or some shit like that.
They were pretty expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, you good, Dave?
He's back.
All right.
So yeah, we were talking about the Toy Biz days, and you just joining Toy Biz and the hierarchy.
Yeah. Joe Quesada, I was there. We had orientation. It was a guy named Steven Sumner there, and Steven Sumner, man, was just wild, man. This dude was. My thought was, this is the freest black man I think I've ever met in my life. Like ever. Like for the first time, like this is what a free thinking black man is. Like this is it. I finally met him.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, it was just dope. And then finally like joining everyone, it was Toy Biz was just so fun, man. We had like everyone always talks about like Marvel Legends and everything from your guys' side. I understand it, but the thing that was so fun and memorable to me was like just going there every day and meeting and just hanging out with the crew. I mean, we did some wild stuff every day. I mean, because we were like inmates in the asylum, that ran it, and we would try so many different things as far as like toys, and so we were always experimental, and just but like we had this wall called the Wall of Shame, where we would put pictures of each other up there, but it was like Photoshop images, like the most wildest image you can think of. And we would superimpose like our heads on these images, man. So we just had so much fun. The camaraderie and the family bond that we had. It was just nothing will ever replace that, man. We just had so much fun. I mean, I remember one time we because we worked on the Lord of the Rings stuff too, so it was a lot of like weaponry and stuff around. And one night, one of the guys got their hands on a I won't name names, but one of the guys got their hands on a bow and arrow, and shot that mug. I mean, just by accident. Like, let me see if I can shoot this, and picked it up and like really just on an instant, like 1, 2, 3, just like picked it up and pop, and just shot off. And it was like something from a movie, man. Like the arrow went between me and another guy and went into like 3 or 4 different like containers and whatnot. If a body was there, it would have got impaled, basically.
Oh God, yeah. It's not easy to shoot a freaking bow and arrow either.
No, it's not. So to tell you how like dumb strong this guy is, right? But it's stuff like that, man. We just had so much fun every day. We just had a lot of fun, but also, and within that fun, that's where we would come up with some of our ideas, with a lot of the ideas that we would, that we eventually turn into toys, and, especially a lot of the Spider-Man stuff was known for features, for having all these wild features and everything. So, it was always fun, just, and that's part of the process too. You kind of, that's part of the creative process. You kind of, play with the stuff, you have fun, you talk, and, you talk about movies, and you sit and reminisce, and you joke around. And then within all that, that's when an idea sparks. And then you throw another idea out there, and then someone else throws it out there. And then you start to spark. And one spark leads to another spark, and leads to another spark. And it's very similar to how Wu-Tang were always, like RZA was talking about how they be in the studio and they be throwing darts, like their lyrics are like darts, and one dude would shoot out a lyric, and then somebody else would throw on that, and it's basically the same thing, but it's just in a creative way. It's all creative, but you're doing it in a vein of designing a product, and then that's when you just kind of have an idea, and then one thing leads to another, and everyone is like, throw this in there, throw that in there, and then next thing you know, you got a super dope project, but everyone kind of like helped you along with it, and that's kind of like how, when you're working in a team in a group setting like that, that's kind of like how it is. At least that's how it was for us.
Two things that. Just an analogy to kind of pair with that. That's pretty much the atmosphere. I feel like that's pretty much the atmosphere from like some of the core people that's involved with A.C.B.A right now. That sort of like feeding off of each other's energy and looking to see somebody put up something that's really dope. Just toy photography in general, but just you see somebody put up something that's crazy, and like that feeling is that same sort of feeling is relative. But I also want to ask you one thing, or say one thing too about Toy Biz. Like, the Toy Biz Lord of the Rings shit was like ahead of its time, man. There's still people using Toy Biz shit right now, and
it was dope,
man.
It was dope. I think one of the things that people really don't give Toy Biz credit for, or that people really don't recognize, is that or maybe it's even just under misunderstood, but Toy Biz was a New York company with New York dudes, right? I mean, like New York people in there, like really doing some dope stuff. And, it was worldwide, but it was like you really had, like, it kind of had an attitude about it,
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I mean by like it had like that New York kind of thing about it, man. Everybody just was. I mean, from everyone had their thing that they contribute to this, and it was all the love. It was all the love that we all had commonly, but it was like it was also some dope artists there, that worked there. Some dope artists. I mean, some of the dopest artists I ever worked around was at Toy Biz.
Can you
Hands down.
Can you break down some of the names of some of the other fellas and their roles and responsibilities? Like
Oh man, I remember the first thing when you talk about Lord of the Rings. I remember one of the first days I got there, we were working on Lord of the Rings. It was this dude in there named Jock Brady, and this kid, his wrist was just ill. It was just ill to me. Like everything looked like it was. It was him and this dude named Jose Ortiz, and they were drawing shit that looked like it was literally coming off the paper, like Weta style type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And it was just dope. So I'm like, yo, I'm working with these cats. Like, it was scary and it was super super fun at the same time because it was so good. And so it was like you had that. Then you have Phil sculpting, Phil Ramirez. You know what I'm saying? And he was just just dope. He just put like this, and he's from LA, but he put that. See, everyone has a little thing what they call it, but what I like to call it funk or stank. You know what I mean? Like he put that funk on it. Like when he doesn't just make something look angry, it looks gritty and angry, like grimy and angry. You know what I mean? Like he puts like an expression to it. You know what I'm saying? And so it was just like, so many guys, like a guy Mike Mucci there, and also too, like these guys, like Mike was an animator, so he had worked on like Dora, that was on MTV back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
And Doria, yeah, he worked on that, and he worked on a couple other stuff. So like it was some real super super dope talent in there, so we all vibed off of each other, but we also vibed off of Marvel in and of itself too, and but then it also, I mean, and that just, it was just a creative vibe that was there, that was just, even with the guys like who did like the printing and the packaging and all that, and it was just, how it was for us at Toy Biz, it was like almost how what you would hear about, what we read about, or how the guys were talking about the old bullpen at Marvel, how they would have stories, like that's kind of how it was for us. It was like that. It was just an atmosphere that was just really, really cool. And then like when Dave Cortez would come by there, or Phil Ramirez would come like with the sculpts and all that, it was like amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah,
it was just amazing.
I think I had mentioned this to you, but me and Shardamus had got an opportunity to visit Dave Cortez's studio a couple years back. It might have been like 4 or 5 years back now. And
really?
Yeah, and he took us through his studio. He had a pretty large little place in pretty large little, but a large place in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And
it's dope. It's dope, isn't it?
Yeah, it's real nice, man. He had a bunch of old shit that he designed and Toy Biz stuff, and we were chopping it up with him. We were there for like a good 2 hours, 2.5 hours or something like that.
He's such a nice dude, man. Like, I'm talking about, his spirit is like genuinely beautiful. Like, Dave Cortez is probably one of the most beautiful people I think I've ever met.
Yeah, it was real nice of him to do that, man. It was like it was humbling, man. It was really cool. But he was so like busy with shit that he was doing, like current shit that he was doing. He didn't even realize how much Hasbro was still kind of using some of his sculpts and shit to this day. He didn't even know about some of the shit that was happening. So that was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's I mean, I get it. It's understandable. It's product. You know, when you slice it, you know, at the bottom line, that is product, and and the Hasbro has the right to sell that product. You know, now how you feel about it, whether it's, you know, slightly changed or not, that's you know, neither here nor there. It's really just it's all on how one feels about it, but it's a product, man. In a weird way, it's almost like it's almost cool to see it come out, because it's telling, like, guys like you can kick it to the new dudes, like, well, this is where they come from, and this is, you know, if you like this, then you'll like this, and this is where this led to, and, you know, this is what kicked this off, and, you know, and we really don't. It's pretty cool that we have that in this genre of ours, you know, like that kind of shows where we are right now, how far we've come.
Have you? Do you have? Can you give us any, like, guesstimate of how many figures you helped design for Toy Biz?
Oh man, I don't even know. Well, I mean, I'm not saying like it's a whole bunch, but it's like, I mean, well, it's wild because you have your projects that you're assigned to. There's a lot of things that you design that don't make it. You know, that you know, there's certain things that you may design, and then it doesn't come out until later on. You know, you really don't have any control over it. So it's almost like, it's not like a apples for apples thing where you see your design and then it comes out in the product, and like, all right, now I did that. It's I mean, now one guy, there are people who do that, like, well, I designed that and I designed that, but honestly, man, it's like, it's such a collaboration that, you know, it's hard for me to actually sit there and say that one person did one thing on any type of line. You know, it's just that you have people who were either spearheading it or the creative lead of it, the design lead or something like that, the point person. But there's a lot of other individuals involved, you know, and like, again, like, that's why it's so different for me, because those are the things that I love, man. That those are the memories that I love about making the figures, you know, about a lot, like with the Marvel Universe, the 3 3/4 inch figures, man. It was so much emotion that was going on around that time, and I'm telling you, man, the hip hop juice in me was just overflowing, because it was so much hate geared towards that line, you know what I'm saying? And it was like the only thing that was going to make it work was just the pure push of it just needing to be. So it was like, with me and the team and the crew that was doing it, and like with the marketing guy and you know, the painter and the sculptors and all that, it was just a common. I think it was just a common feeling that we were just like, you know, we're going to do this. We're going to kick ass, because everyone is kind of, you know, has everyone is against it for one reason or another. And, you know, really, honestly, no toy is designed bad from the beginning. No toy starts off bad. You know, it's a death by paper cuts, you know, but it was like with Marvel Universe, it was like something like I just had this whole attitude, like, you know, like it was kind of like it was written like Nas. It was like, fuck the world, man. We going all in on this, because everybody's against it.
So you think you were a little ahead of your time as it relates to shit that you wanted to do with Universe, that they were kind of cutting back on, that it looks like?
I mean, I don't think it was ahead of his time as far as like that. I think that because I mean, it borrowed heavily from the past in order for it to succeed, you know, like heavily from G.I. Joe, heavily from He-Man, you know, heavily from of course Marvel, you know, but you know, there was elements, you know, that it was like an amalgamation that I think that we all kind of brought to the table, and and made it work. You know, just pushed it, but to continue to want to make it better. Like I think that was always the drive. Let's make it better. Let's do some wild. Like as far as me, like it's like let's do something wild. Let's do something crazy. Let's do something unexpected. But it was also like some of these things were done because it was out of you know necessity. You know, it was like necessity is the mother of invention, you know, that type of deal. So am I still there?
Yeah.
Am I just rambling on? Oh, okay.
Are you good?
See, I gotta hear something sometime because I'll just start going and going and going the phone.
Well, I wanted to ask you, you know, as far as the collaborative atmosphere of working in the toy field back in the day, how does that compare to now? Is it a little more corporate now? Is fun not quite allowed?
I mean, it's still the same amount of corporate. I mean, it's just more corporate because I mean now I think what it is Marvel in a lot of sense, in a lot of ways, kind of showed the formula of a lot of things. Showed the formula of how to make a successful comic book, how to make a successful film franchise, how to make a successful toy product, and how it's all aimed, and you know the timing of it and things like that. You know, so you know, it's always kind of breaking the mold. I forgot what your question was. Now I'm rambling.
I'm sorry. Is it more corporate now? Like, is it not quite?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that, I mean, it's always been corporate, but I think that now because everything is really tied around a license, which is tied around a movie or something, like now everything is so. That's what you're getting now. Everything is just license based, you know, or licensing now, you know, and I think to me like that's the only thing that just kind of that I don't like, that everything's based off of a movie, you know, or something like that. Like I would like to see something like some lines that are just for fun, you know, other stuff based off of comic books, or just, you know, something, just a line that would just out of the blue that is just cool, but not really based off of a movie, or its success has to be tied around a film franchise. You know, I wish that we weren't so much in that world right now.
Dave, can you give us an education on the entire process of making a product like a Marvel Legend action figure from the idea, concepts to the store shelf, and all the different obstacles that you have to go through? You know, a person in your position who's a designer has to go through to get an actual figure on the shelf.
Oh man, it's a lot to it, but usually you start off with your line list, like a list of where you want to go and how you want to flush the line out, and you really just jotting names down at that point, or trying to get a feel of how you want it to be, how your wave is going to be, how many characters are going to be in your wave. And then once you start doing that, that's when you want to start populating it and start gathering your reference and everything, and really start designing it that way. It's really like once you start generating your line, that's when things kind of like that's your stem, right? That's your first strong stem, but then things start branching off from there. So it's like you have multiple things that are happening at that point, and it's not like just like a ABC kind of process. There's multiple things kind of happening with multiple people, like engineers start getting involved. You got to start getting timing involved, and you got to get your packaging people involved as far as the timing of that, but the timing of your line it begins to become important, like when you want it to hit. But you really start, once you start populating your line and seeing what it looks like, how you want your waves to be, your characters to be, that's when you start your design process. You're figuring out how you want it to be, how you want your action figure to be, how many points of articulation you want it to be, what scale you want it to be, start gathering some reference, of how you envision this line to be. Is it going to be 6 inch scale, 6 inch height? Is it is it going to be 3 3/4 inch? Is it going to be Super D style, like what's it going to look like, you know? So now you're in your concept stage, and that's when you start figuring it out. And then that's what's really the beginning of everything, really. And then once you start getting to that process, that's when you want to start nailing down the look, your feel, and then you want to start making your models off of that, something three-dimensional, so you can actually start not only get a better feel of what it's going to look like, but also you want to start doing your costing based off of that. You want to start painting it, so now you get an idea how many paint ops it's going to be. You know, it's different ways to figure out exactly. All right, again, like this product, this little stem is starting to grow and branch off in different ways, right? So, you know, what is it going to do? You know, how, you know, what's the theme of it going to be? The theme of your line, your action figure line, your ways, and how you want the graphics to be, how you want your logos to be, what's your color theme going to be, what your texture theme. You know, you really start. You know, there's a lot of concepting that goes on. You know, a lot of breadboarding that goes on. There's a lot of mood boards that goes on to kind of get a feel of how you want your line to be, you know, how you want to break the mold, because it's also going to go into a shelf where there's a whole bunch of other toys there too, you know, and how is this one going to break the mold? How is this one going to be the thing that's going to stop kids in their tracks? You know, what's going to make the buyer from whatever store, you know, from whoever wants, who's going to take this on? Who's going to want to buy this? Who's going to want to actually get behind this product because they feel as though it's going to be strong? Like this is the thinking that start happening as you're developing, you know, the product, you know. So it's even though the corporate side is the thing that people can't stand, but you know, the corporate side is also, you know, the things that make this whole train move. You know, so and there's a lot of people involved.
So was it some type of issue with the corporate side of things as far as when you split from Hasbro?
No, I mean, it was corporate. It was a corporate thing, you know. It was out of my control. And you know, it's something that happens. It's something that in this industry, that's a beast that comes frequently. You know that it's out there, that if you do this and you work on the corporate side and you're in this, because I mean, this is about retail, you know, this is about the, you know, how especially during that time at Hasbro when that happened, you know, the whole country was going through a economic crisis. Yeah. You know, though, I mean, there was a lot that was going on, and it was more bigger than just, you know, Hasbro.
No doubt.
So you know, all that comes into play, you know, and we got to remember that this realm that we're in is not a necessity. You know, this isn't something that it's not a food or something that is needed for survival. You know, so there's going to be times when the supply is there. There's going to be some times when the demand is there. You know, but it's up and down. You know, it's up and down. So and when that happened, that was when it was in a down period. But also too, I think not only was it a down period, but it was the beginning of a flux. You know, and I think that now you're starting to see how Hasbro now, with how they're coming out with stuff with Marvel, you know, they're really on top of it. But it took a long time for it to get there. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
And so I mean, kudos to them because they're doing it. But
it was a lot of growing pains, though.
It's a lot of growing pains. Like as you can see, I mean, because you're one of the guys that stuck by it for a long time, so you can see the growth of it. And back in the day, you see, you know, there was a lot of complaints, but now when you look back at it, it's like, wow, man, it's like this line is like the little engine that could, you know, and it survived a lot, and it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah, a lot of people
I
forget.
remember going through times where you would wonder, like, when is this line gonna disappear again, and then come back in like 3 years, and then when is it gonna teeter off? And it hasn't. If anything, it keeps getting stronger, and it's crazy to see.
Yeah, I mean,
here for the disappearance of it anymore.
it keeps getting stronger. I mean, it really goes to show you the number one. I mean, it may sound corny, but the true fanhood of Marvel, man. I mean, I'm not there. I don't work for Marvel, you know, or Hasbro, and I'm not doing any products, but I love Marvel to death. You know what I mean? I love them. You know, I love, and I always will. And some of the movies I can't watch because it pisses me off. Some things that they do, some of the moves that they make me angry. You know, but it's not because of it's just so much passion there because they were so near and dear to my heart growing up, being such a part of my life, not just part of my life as far as like feeding me creativity in the creative sense, but also like feeding my family, you know, like you know, they were a major part of my life. So, you know, I will always, you know, hold them near and dear, and plus it's like the imagination too, like that Marvel is still the thing that makes my imagination and a lot of our imaginations still, you know, fly, you know, and do what it does, you know, and I think that the reason why Marvel Legends is so strong right now is I think it's a testament to that because of the fans.
Yeah, no question. And we were talking about that too, actually earlier in this episode about how Hasbro does a really good job of continuing to deal with the fans and source questions and really interact with their fan base as opposed to some other companies.
Man. I mean, I think all companies should, you know, and you know, it's just a cool thing. To me, it's just cool because it's always cool to give back, number one. And giving back means many things, but a lot of it is just sitting there talking to guys because we all love this, and sometimes we just want to share stories, share a laugh, you know, and I think that sharing and that story is such a fundamental thing with Marvel and comics in general, that's what we do. And that's what we all love, and we all love to share. We all love the story element of sharing. So, and I think that's why we just love all of this. So it's always cool to hear, like, to see the team and to see who's doing what and get their insights. And you know, I mean, there's a lot of stories that I could tell you. There's even more that I won't. and the ones that I won't, trust me, are gold, man. I mean,
so we all know that your face has graced a few action figures. For some of our younger viewers, Dave Vanna has his face on the old Toy Biz War Machine figure. I think you got something recent too, though, right?
Yep. There's a Jurassic Park, a mercenary one in there. There's also another. There's a War Machine, a 3 3/4-inch War Machine from the Iron Man line.
Okay.
Yeah, from the second movie, 3 3/4-inch line, I believe.
Yeah, snuck that one in there too.
How does something like that come about? How do you guys get free reign to do shit like that?
We don't. I'm just conceited as hell.
That's funny.
No. Yeah, I don't know how it happens. It just happens. It really just it's pretty cool, but I mean, you know, it really just kind of just happened.
Did you guys did some of that with some of the old Lord of the Rings stuff too, right?
Yup. Jesse's one of the archers, I believe, and Damon, I believe he's like an Easterling. There's another dude, Jason Mattern. He is, I think, one of the Wild Men or something like that. I think.
Well,
What ideas or designs are you most proud of from either your days at Hasbro or Toys Biz?
Man, I don't know. See that I don't know. It's so many things, but it's like really the people, the moments, man. Like, you know, sitting there talking, the bonding, like over the time. I mean, you literally is blood, sweat, and tears, you know, with the people that you work with, you know, and those are the things, man. It's sometimes coming in on the weekends. Like I remember at Hasbro coming in the weekend, Dwight looking tired as hell because he just spent all morning with his kids playing soccer. You know, and he come in there and his hat is cocked to the side and he's like, "Hey, how you doing, man? I'm here." You know, and I remember homeboy was dead tired, but he still gave it his all, despite the fact that everyone was kicking his name in, you know, and so like it's stuff like that I remember, you know. I mean, of course, and then it's like I remember there was a guy who sent me an email about a Hulk figure that I did, like the Red Hulk figure for Marvel Universe, and apparently it meant a lot to him, and he was a cancer patient. But he just went into how it really meant a lot to him that this was done, and it was like stuff like that was like, you know, the fact that he took time out to write me about, you know, a figure that he cared for was just, you know, something that was very cool and memorable for me, you know.
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's what it's about, because I mean, at the end of the day, I'm Dave Vonner, the little kid who's the only child, right? And sitting around playing with comic books, playing with toys, reading comic books and stuff, and you know, I always like that feeling of just excitement when you see something cool and you get to get with your boy and you play with it and you talk about it, you know, like that was always a fun feeling to me. So that's what I love. I love whenever someone has that reaction, like, oh shit, like when they see that and they're like, you know, and they pick it up and they're like, dang, like whatever that reaction, when the little kid is like, oh mom. Actually, I love it when a kid loses it and he says, oh shit, like when he because it's like he just completely lost it.
And then you
lost it. Right. You know what I mean? Or when the kid is like, oh mom, please, like, because I mean that's a feeling that we all had. We all had that feeling and we all recognize that feeling. So it's just cool to for me, it's cool to be in a field where that is, to me, that's the ultimate payoff.
Yeah,
you know, that's
that.
Right. That's it. You know, it's like that reaction. And then when someone keeps it for whatever reason, they talk about it and they share it for years and years and years. Like, damn, man, like we never even thought that it would go this far. You know, and I didn't even mean that in a hip hop way, but literally, like that's how it is. You never really think about it that it even goes that far, but it does, and that's cool. That's real from a spiritual standpoint. That's the cool part for me. That's the cool part about it.
No doubt, you guys literally have been raising like 2 generations of people on Marvel Legends and shit right now.
Yo, man, and I'm telling you, that is so bugged out. It's bugged out that you say that, man, because it's like yeah. I mean, it's like 20 plus years in this. It's been going on, but more importantly, that we're all still friends. Like the guys that made that stuff, like Jesse is my brother. I mean, I love him to death. Damon, I love him to death. You know, the guys that were there, Junis, and I mean, you guys don't even know. You don't even know the names, but there's so many people there that we just love each other. It was a family bond that still lasts to this day.
No, I could see that. That was actually going to be one of my questions, but it's pretty obvious. Was there any bad blood between you guys when you left? But you know, I got to see you guys when I saw you at SDCC and you went over and gave Dwight a big hug, and like, you know, I could tell you hadn't seen him for a while, but that, you know, the love was there, no question. So
yeah, it's definitely love, and there's also competition too. you know, like because when you're doing it, you want your team to win.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like I'm with Mattel now and with WWE, and of course I want them to win. And of course, like, you know, I feel that WWE figures, if you're not collecting them, you're doing yourself a disservice because they're the dopest action figures that's out there right now. And
No doubt.
and not only that, but even if you're a customizer, you can customize even more stuff out of those joints. So
Right.
I mean, it's like, and also too, it's the deepest as far as like, you can't, whatever ethnicity you are, that line is for you. You are represented in that line. So
That's a good point.
you know, when you talk about the elites, man, or the basic in the elites line, there's no other action figure line that's deeper than that, and that's what I love about it, man. It's like, and you know, and it's constantly pushing that envelope. It's pushing
line. That new line that has that Ronda and Ultimate Warrior look absolutely
incredible. Yeah, that looks phenomenal, man.
You damn right. You know what I'm saying? It looked good. You know, I mean, it was a lot of hard work that was put into that to push that, and everyone really did a kick-ass job. And Bill McKenna, he's a madman, and you know, he's another dude that, like, he'll come in there like how Dwight used to do it, how he's coming in on weekends, half cock, looking crazy from the night before, but you know, he's giving it his all. No one sees that, but he's doing it, you know, and that's what has put it into that line, and that's why it kicks ass like that. And for me, it's even more of an attitude because it's wrestling, you know what I'm saying? It's WWE, and it's real people, and it's to me, that makes it even extra funky, you know, and more cool, and it's a dope line to work on.
Real quick, I see you living your best life on Instagram, Dave. I see you look like you're probably in the best shape of your life. And is that a result of you kind of being around those dudes with the WWE line, or what? Did you just get that motivation, or?
Yeah, it was really just being, you know, I mean, it's not bad. I'm 46 now, you know, and it really just started out of, honestly, it started out of being depressed, you know, and it was something how I worked my way out of that depression. So it's like when I do full body stuff like pull-ups and stuff, it's like I'm pulling myself up. It's not like an object. It's me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like more of a mental and a spiritual thing. But it's just so wild how it all just kind of progressed and came on. And it's funny. I kind of show a couple pull-up tips to some dudes in WWE. You know, I had a couple contests. I won't say what was the result, but you see, I'm still ticking.
Had to take Zack Ryder to the side and let him know, hey, listen, man. I don't know if you're doing your shoulder blades any favors in the way that you're.
Zach's a big dude, man. In the gym. Zach is a solid dude. I can't mess with him. I can only hope to contain him.
So, what's your official role at Mattel right now?
Right now, I'm a senior designer, and we're just cranking everything out, man. We're cranking everything out, making everything pretty cool, and having fun, man. You know, it's really a lot of fun.
Is there any wrestler right now that you really want to make, but for whatever reason it's just not in the cards? Like whether it's that they don't have a Legends contract or.
Well, I'm always teasing Bill because I want Hercules Hernandez so bad. I would love to see a Hercules Hernandez because he always looked so cool to me when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, that's a pretty big throwback. Get the chain on him.
Yeah. Got the chain and the beard and all that. He
come in the ring swinging the chain. That shit was crazy.
But yeah, I mean, of course it is him, and I mean, I would love to see, like, because I love classic dudes. I like old school dudes, so I would like to have a really dope superstar Billy Graham. You know, if anyone, like he would be so super dope, you know, to have him. So yeah, it's a lot of guys I would like to have, and some new dudes too. Of course, like some other guys I would like to have, you know, like some dream stuff, like a dope Thunder Lips. Thunder Lips would be so cool.
Man, it would be great to see some Von Erichs or something along those lines.
Oh yeah, yup, super dope. So yeah, there's a lot that I would want, you know, in my dream collection.
So Mattel's main office is where exactly?
In El Segundo.
Okay.
Where my wallet got left at.
Right.
Another hip hop reference. Another hip hop reference.
Easter eggs, you know, Easter eggs, youngins.
Yo, it's funny, man. I would love to do a hip hop line. I mean, I would make it no secret. I would love to do a dope hip hop line.
Yeah, I'm glad you touched on that because we talked about this a bit in private. I wasn't sure if this was something that was secret in the stash or what, but no,
yeah. I mean, it's something I would definitely love to do. I mean, I'm sure, like, and I mean, other people have done it. You see, Mez have tried. You know, he's done his Biggie stuff and the Run stuff before.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, I would like to do it different. You know, and do it like with some serious depth to it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
because yeah, even the ones in the past, like, you know, we discussed this too. They weren't like. They were still a little cartoony. It wasn't like, you know, that real face scan and technology, like, you know, accuracy. Like, it was still a little cartoony. But yeah, if
right.
they were, you know.
No, I would do it differently. Do it where it's like, you know, like when you saw the McFarlane type stuff. Like, you remember? I mean. You remember McFarlane when he did those like the Legends of Raw, like he did Jimi Hendrix and he did Jim Morrison, like those were just really, really dope, man. And
he even did a couple of M&Ms, I think.
Yeah,
he did. The Eminem was dope too. Eminem was dope too, man.
Only thing with McFarlane, we joke about him a lot here too, is that he doesn't like to put too much articulation in his stuff, but obviously he does really good work too.
I mean, because it's like, well, it's like. You know, what do you want? I mean, of course, we would love to have it fully articulated and beautifully sculpted and beautifully painted. But it's like 2 out of 3 ain't bad. You know, it's like 4 out of 5 dentists. Like, who the hell is that 5th dentist that just can't get it right? Who is that guy? Can somebody please tell me who's this 5th dentist who just can't get it right?
I just gotta say,
I can't vibe with this toothpaste, man.
But you know, just talking about like McFarlane again, man, is like, you know, that guy, he really is the grandfather kind of he's like the James Brown of this in a way, you know, with his toy line, you know, he really just broke a whole new mold and a whole new era for, you know, a lot of, you know, for the Mezcos that's out there and the NECAs and all that, and I mean all that stuff.
Yeah, you know, it's something that we've brought up here on the show many times that, like, you know, whether we agree with the moves that Todd makes, and even if the guys that run the companies now don't like him or whatever it may be, have any bad blood, he was the reason that they all exist now. You know, people like NECA and Mezco and all those companies along those lines, like, they all exist from a template that he created.
Yeah, there was something. I mean, you might not like it all, but it was something in there that you did. It was something in there that made you turn your head, you know, raise your eyebrow a little bit. You know,
even now, we're about to get a new Mafex quotation marks McFarlane Spider-Man in 2019 and shit. So, you know, even with what he did in comic books is still inspiring right now to this day, you know.
And it's funny that you say that too, because that made me think of, you remember when Toy Fair magazine, when we first showed that Spider-Man that was posed out like McFarlane's Spider-Man cover.
Yep.
Well, it was a guy named Brian Webster who worked for Toy Biz who did that, man. And I'm telling you, that right there, for as far as Marvel Legends go or Spider-Man, like, as far as Marvel toys go, to me, that is what did it. That right there is what did it. And Brian Webster, I mean, that dude deserves all the credit in the world, because when he because really the model didn't pose like that.
Right.
You know, he made it work. He made it happen. And when people saw that, they were just like done.
Yeah.
They were done. They were done, man. I would really love to see, man. I mean, it's so funny talking about it now, but back in the day, man, it was like some of the stuff that you were seeing from Toy Fair magazine. I miss Toy Fair magazine so much, Wizard magazine so much, because it was really like when there was no internet, man. That was our internet.
Yeah,
you know what
definitely.
I mean? Like that was our social media, man. And then you guys started the YouTube stuff. You know, and even that, like, I mean, I'm sure that you let people know, but like this whole Instagram stuff, man, that was you YouTube guys started all that stuff.
Pretty much. You know, they they soon forgotten, but yeah, like you know, we talk about this fairly often here on the show, but yeah, the YouTube is what gave way to all of this Facebook grouping and Instagram and all of that stuff. It was just a few people posing up their figures or showing their shit on YouTube with some real low quality videos that led to all of this boom in social media and toy photography.
And the funny thing is that we were looking at it. Like it wasn't like you guys were just doing this, right? Like we were actually looking at what you guys were doing, and then taking whatever cues or complaints or whatever you guys had, and we put that into the product in various ways. You know what I'm saying? So you really get to see how it became this almost like this symbiotic relationship between the fans and you know, kind of like what in the product. And that to me that's what shaped Marvel. That's what made Marvel so special, because it was that blend of the fan and Marvel, you know what I mean? Like they would put those nods in there, you know, and you know, just working on Marvel Universe, it was so many like little nods and stuff I put into the file cards and all that, you know, just to have that feeling, that old Marvel feeling of just doing that, you know. So it's been an honor and a privilege to work on this stuff, man. I never thought in a million years that I would ever be any way close to this stuff.
That they put out the Marvel Universe Sentinel again, or they re-released it.
Oh, you know what? I did see that. I did see that.
Where's my check?
Nah, that's cool, man. I mean, you know, it's like, hey, that's what I would like for something to live on for so long.
No doubt.
You know, and I mean, I hope that was the intent, for it to be good enough to really capture what a Sentinel is and what Marvel is, and that whole feeling of, you know, just that feeling of like, man, this is a comic book coming to life, and I'm glad that it's still around. And speaking of comic book coming to life, we got to talk about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh my god.
Literally the greatest Spider-Man movie.
Yo, that was a Spider-Man. That was a Spider-Man movie. Like
100%.
that was it, man. I felt like for the first time ever, I actually watched a comic book movie. Like it really came to life, like a comic book.
A comic book movie, literally, yeah. No question about it, man.
It was dope. I mean, with the use of the Kirby crackle, you know, the whole pop art look to it, everything about it was just like, I mean, I'm telling you, Marvel is blowing me away. I mean, they really are. Even though I did not like Avengers Infinity War.
Really? Why not?
Man, yo, you need a whole podcast for that one, brother.
You didn't like the movie?
No,
really?
no,
oh, man.
no. Here's the thing. I love seeing everyone together. I love seeing that. But then that's what made me hate it at the same time. Because that's not who it was supposed to be. and certain things were said that weren't supposed to be said by certain characters. And but also too, man, like I don't know, I just always had there's a voice in my head of how whenever I read Thanos, that sound is, and to me that wasn't Thanos.
Civil War must have really pissed you off, huh?
So,
I mean,
what was one of your favorite Marvel movies then?
My favorite of all time is Blade 2.
There you go.
Okay,
That's a good answer.
That's my favorite one because it's like, you know, it's a horror movie with the superhero in it, but it feels very much like to me like you know, like a Marvel horror book, like, you know, it tells a suspense or something. Like that's what it feels like to me.
well, we've
Like
talked about
Blade
the
and
Blade
Blade
shit
2.
here. Yeah, we've talked about Blade 1 and 2 here, how they actually still hold up pretty well. Yeah, no.
Yeah, the fight scene in Blade
still
2.
hold up.
Yeah, the final fight scene in Blade 2 still holds up as one of the better fight scenes in the entire library.
Yeah,
Right.
Very
Right.
ahead of its time. Very ahead of its time for sure.
Yup. I agree, man. Like those are it for me. But you know, that Avengers movie, man, it just oh man, it just I think what really let me down, I think I let myself down. That's what it was. I think my expectations were way too high.
Yeah, you just had an image in your head, and nothing will ever live up to that. Just because you've been building it up your
But
whole
it had
life.
some moments though. But it had moments. You know, that's the thing. It had moments in there that was like brilliant. But then it was just like, man, I would just wish Silver Surfer was in it. You know, or how Thor was portrayed. I did not like that at all.
mm-hmm.
What moments stuck out to you that you really liked?
Say that again.
What moments stuck out to you that you really liked?
In the Avengers movie?
Yeah.
In Infinity War?
Yeah.
What part did I like?
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
Damn, Dave, you in a minority with that, bro. But I understand. I totally understand from your perspective, just being a classic comic book collector, and I hear what you're saying about Thor, and he was silly, but I don't know. I still liked it.
But you know, that right there, Thor was silly, but and like, no, I'm not accepting that because Thor is not a silly character.
I think I said it here in the original episode after we all watched Infinity War. I said, I loved the movie, but I wondered, where's Mistress Death? I wondered why does she have no part in any of this? I was expecting.
Well, I know, and that really did did it for me. And when the part when Red Skull came about, I was like, oh shit, that go Death, and it was like, no, it's not. It's Red Skull.
Exactly what I thought when I'd seen the cloak. I was like, oh my god, hooded figure, it's Death. And then I turned around and I was like, oh shit.
And that's what I mean by I loved it and hated it at the same time. You know what I mean? I love the characters, but then again, I love the characters that I'm glad that they were there. It was I love seeing them, but at the same time, I hated seeing them because that's not the story, you know. And also too, it was like a personal thing because I really loved the death of Captain Marvel, and I really fell in love with Thanos as a concept. You know what I mean? As what motivates him and just what made him tick and just how odd he was, or odd he is, and so it was a little bit of that, but it still got my money.
Yeah, I had a very similar take like yours, but with Age of Ultron because I'm a big fan of Hank Pym and of like the Ant-Man family, and when Ultron turned out to be who he was and who created him and everything like that, it really just pissed me off when I was watching that film.
And he was goofy as fuck too. We all agreed that Ultron was too goofy.
Right, and also because Hank Pym's whole thing is very complex. Very complex. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when you get involved with, and I think that's the thing that kind of upsets me is that these very complex characters, they're circumvented in a way where they're no longer really the true character to me. Like the essence of the character isn't there because they circumvented so many things to get to the point or to tell the story. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they got to translate him to a consumable size for a movie.
Right.
And because of that, they lose so much.
Which I get it. I get that because you only got a certain amount of time to do it. But it's like, man, I just wish that it was told differently. But then also too, it's like, one thing I hate is when a movie is remade. Like for instance, like like with Bumblebee, right? It's like a whole retelling, and it's like, well, you just, even though I get it from a story standpoint, there's still like years and years and years of other movies that clogged up all that time and space. But Marvel is definitely, they definitely have like a formula, and they're rolling with the movies. And I mean, honestly, I do love their movies. It's just when I start getting to nitpick and everything, that's when I'm taking myself out of the movie. Like, it's very hard for me it's hard for the whole suspension of disbelief really to kick in because I'm always comparing the movie to the story that I read.
Yeah, the source material.
So I almost wish that the movies were a whole new story in and of itself. You know what I mean? So that way I'm not going back to like that's not what was said, and that person didn't do that, and this, you know what I mean? So I'm not doing any of that. That's kind of how I wish it was, but they're not made for just me, and I'm just a few. I'm one of the few.
Comic book fans are very hard to please. We are a rare breed, no question about that. So
I know. And then and then I look at my wife and she's like, "Oh man, I loved it. And I'm like, "Well, you know what? Then it did its job. Then I guess it did its job." So but also too, like, there's a whole new crop of kids. There's a whole new generation that is loving these characters in that way. So just like hip hop, this is where sometimes you gotta let things go.
Is there who are you watching right now as far as other toy companies, and who's kind of piquing your interest, or is there anything that you might be collecting right now? That you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, I kind of pick up whatever reference stuff, but I mean, I kind of pick up a little bit of whatever just catches my eye. Honestly, it's not really with the thought of I got to complete this line. Like, I'm not a completist anymore.
Gotcha.
That because it just drives me crazy, and I don't have the bandwidth to have crazy in my life anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I just get things that I like. If I see something like from Japanese, like a Japanese import, or of course, like if NECA always has my money. NECA will always, always, always have my money.
Fabio smiling right
Fabio's
now.
cracking the biggest smile right now.
The king of NECA because he's just the man when it comes to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was the last collector that they featured on their social media for their NECA collector of the year or whatever.
Accolades.
Yeah.
So did you see that they're about to put out the John Connor, the young John Connor with the bike?
Yes. Yo, when I saw that, I was like, yo, that's dope. See, that's what I love. When you see something and you're like, yo, I don't have that.
Right. Yeah, it's been a long time coming for that.
A long time. When I saw that, I was like, yo, that's hot right there. Like NECA just they know how to do the things that I just are in the corners of my mind. I feel like Randy and his crew are just lurking there, and they know exactly how to pull all that shit out.
That's what's up.
So knowing that you're a huge Thor fan and you're friends with Jesse Falcon, how come we still don't have a classic Thor from Marvel Legends.
Yeah, it's about fucking time. We need that. We need a classic Thor from like every line right now. We talked about it for Mezco too. Hell yeah.
Hey, you should corner Jesse. You know, tell Dwight, you know, do the mighty Marvel fan poll or something. You know, do the letter campaign or something. You know, run the inbox.
I actually was going to have Jesse Falcon on my podcast, but he said that Marvel wouldn't let him do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. That's understandable. Well, I mean, I don't know. But I would say whatever it is that you want. You know, hey, put it out in, you know, email form. Put it out in reviews. I mean, you guys do an amazing job of voicing your complaints and voicing what you want. You've been doing it for years. Don't stop now.
No doubt. Well, you know, Toy Fair is next month. It's a good possibility that we'll hear or see something about Thor, hopefully, from Marvel Legends. But we've been waiting for a Mezco classic Thor as well. So
I'll tell you what, man. I mean, I love Thor. You guys know I love Thor. But honestly, to be from a personal standpoint, I mean, we could the one action figure that I wish I had done is Shang-Chi. So and just knowing that, you know, there's going to be a Shang-Chi franchise coming down the pipe. I mean, I don't even know. I'm just talking to you guys as a fan, but from one fan to another. But I would.
NECA fan, and WWE Mattel is doing those ultimate versions. Is that something you look to for inspiration? Because it seems like a lot of companies are doing, you know, quote unquote ultimate versions of figures.
Well, I mean, I can't discuss my plans, but I'm talking to you as a fan right now. I'm talking to you as a fan right now regarding Shang-Chi. I would love to see Shang-Chi, man, in action figure form. I mean, I would just love to see that. So, I mean, hey, maybe that's something you can ask at Toy Fair, you know. But I'm quite sure there's going to be something coming down the pipe, which is really, really long overdue.
Yeah, man, it's a long time coming. I just the idea that we don't have a figure is nuts. Or another characters like him or the Mandarin, like, where are they at? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot of, you know, characters that I would love to see. You know, like I would love like an armadillo. You know, that would be dope. I remember somebody did a dope armadillo custom, didn't
you do an armadillo in the 3/4 inch line? Wasn't there an armadillo in the 3/4 inch line?
No.
We got a teaser or something at some point with armadillo somewhere.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
Well, hey, like, again, disclaimer, I'm a fan. I don't know. So if there is one, I would love to see that.
I always wondered why in MU or even in ML, being that we have suited bodies, why nobody ever made an arcade. It's such an easy figure to do. It's just a head.
Oh, brother. Yeah. Now, see, but, you know, there's also a lot of times where we wanted certain characters, too, that just never made it for one reason or another. But arcade would be fun. I'm sorry if you hear dogs barking.
Yes,
I guess everyone in my building is letting their dogs out for the night, I guess.
The Patriots game is over, so now they're trying to walk the dogs.
Oh, wow, it's over? Who won? See, I spent all the time talking to you guys. Who won?
Oh, the Pats won over.
Wow, so it's LA and the Patriots in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's going to be nuts.
That's crazy. Well, see, my wife's a Saints fan. I'm a Cowboys fan. We got knocked out, so I guess we'll be going with the LA way.
Hey, man, as long as the Eagles weren't in it, you guys won.
Hey, brother, please say that again. As long as the Eagles ain't in it, I'm so happy.
Yeah, man.
I'm so happy that eagle has fucking landed. You can't tell me twice, boy.
Hey, Dave, whatever happened to that orange Fin Fang Foom with the shorts?
Oh, man, I don't know. You tell me. Why don't you ask guys that at Toy Fair? I mean, because that would be dope to see. I would love to see that, man.
Well, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility, considering that they just put out this the Sentinel again. Shit, so it's not like they still don't have the mold or the book or whatever. So
I mean, there's a whole lot of monsters that could be done that would be very cool. Very cool.
Was there anything from back in the day that that was like maybe right on the cusp of happening that just didn't happen for whatever reason that that kind of made you upset or that you'd like to see happen at some point?
Well, there's one that I wish that would be done, but I don't know if they're going to do it or not, so I don't know. But I mean, there's tons of characters. Look, all you need to do is crack. This is what you do. All you so-called action figure fans out there who claim your collection is so deep, you got all these thousands of characters sitting up there. Crack open some comics and see who's missing.
No, there's still a lot of characters missing. There's no question.
Yeah, there's a whole lot that's missing. There's a lot that's missing.
There's a lot of classic costumes. I mean, we have characters, but we don't have classic costumes of those characters.
Right.
There's so many classic costumes that are missing. It's so sometimes I remember, man, there used to be times I literally would bang my head up against the wall because it was so obvious. I'm sitting there like, these fans, why don't y'all just say what it is? It's so obvious. Like, start the demand, go crazy about it, But there's a lot of guys out there that should be done, I think, in my opinion.
Do you know why Hasbro and Mattel has been guilty of this, but not as much as Hasbro? Why they most of the time choose a really hard plastic for the female's hair, and they'll even put a disc hinge in the neck, but it's useless because the hair isn't flexible, so you can't utilize the articulation.
Well, I mean, I don't know about other companies, but I mean, or it's usually it's about preference. Whatever you think the durometer should be.
So you don't think it's a cost?
I mean, sometimes it's about preference or what you feel as though the durometer should be. It's not necessarily like cheapening out to make it harder or something like that. It's just or sometimes they can't be too soft because of shipping. There's a lot that happens from between the time that the product is finally packaged and ends up in the stores. Like, there's a lot of things that happen in between. There's a lot of variances in temperature too that happen. So there's a lot that goes on, and then as to why certain parts of the product needs to be a certain way.
Mm-hmm. So it might be for QC reasons they're afraid that it's going to break,
or it may bend and bend a particular way where it becomes misshapen and it won't retain its original shape. So I mean, all that comes into play.
Do you know why there's such a division between the Black Series line and the Marvel Legends line? Why they can't collaborate with a lot of the product designs?
I have no clue. I don't work over there. I mean, your guess would be as good as mine. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, I don't know. I don't. I don't see. I may not see what you see.
For Mattel, is there like a huge division between like the wrestling line and the like DCUC, the DC multiverse line? Like, you guys don't ever like communicate or share ideas or anything?
I mean, it's like we all live in one big happy house. It's like, I mean, we all communicate, but you got to remember, like, not everything is going to look the way that you may want it to be. Everything has its own particular look and feel and necessity within the line. Not everything is going to be universal. So, and that's not to say with anything in as far as Mattel, but that's just anywhere. I mean, every line is different. You know, every line has its particular needs and its particular looks and strengths, and you know where it aims to go. You know, so what may work in one line may not particularly work in another line, and it could be under the same roof as far as production goes. I mean, that's just how it is.
Is there usually cases where you go to your team and you're like, man, I really want to do this Rock, and WWE will come back to you like, right now we're not trying to do that version of the Rock. You can do this version and this version, but not that version. Does that happen often?
I mean, it stuff like that. You know, it does happen, and you know, when you're dealing with talent, you know, I mean, and not specifically with The Rock, but just in general, like you know, of course, you know, they're our partners, so they have a voice in as far as who, you know, who does what and how it's done, how it's portrayed, you know. So, and we have to have approvals for that. So, that's and you know, we go by we follow that approval process very stringently. So,
okay.
What's the name of this new line that's about to come out with Mattel again?
You talking about the Ultimates line?
Yes, it's the Ultimates line. Okay. Are you working directly on that too?
Yeah, we all have it's like an umbrella, you know. It's all, you know, it's an umbrella, and I all have my fingers in a little bit of everything.
Can we expect a lot of cloth goods from that line? Because we saw that Warrior with that jacket, and I was like, oh my god, this is what I've wanted from Elites. Because so many jackets are like softer plastic, which I understand you doing it that way, but I've always loved the idea of having like people's jackets or capes or whatever it may be in cloth.
Did you like that?
Oh man, that was so sick when I seen that Warrior jacket.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. That's the feeling that you want when you see something for the first time.
Oh yeah, it's when you wonder why hasn't it always been this way? Because that's so sick.
I'm sure you know this, Dave, but like a lot of people that collect Legends or any other line are repurposing a lot of the WWE, WWF older figures and shit, and using them as goons and this and that, and bashing the bodies and all of that. So you know, it's a lot of playability.
As a customizer, man, you know, there's. I mean, when I see stuff, especially like, you know, how with Marvel Legends, like you always think about what body to use for what and everything. So it's like as a customizer, I'm always seeing stuff like, man, this would be good for so and so. That would be good for so and so. So yeah, I mean, I can see that. I mean, I know a lot of guys are using them to kit bash and make certain characters, and that's fun. That's the fun part. That's the fun subculture of this whole thing. You know, it's fun.
I don't know. I don't really collect too much Mattel stuff myself, but do you know if they have any plans to, I guess, kind of, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the phrase I'm looking for? To do stuff with toy photographers or some type of maybe sponsorship or anything like that? I mean, we've been seeing a lot of companies do a lot of contests and do a lot of things where they are really recognizing a lot of toy photographers and recognizing that fandom, basically. You know, if Mattel is doing anything like that?
I don't know anything specifically, but I mean, definitely what you're talking about. I mean, that, like, as far as guys, you know, the action figure art that you see in social media and like Instagram and all that, it really is taking off, you know. So yeah, I mean, I can't say specifically, you know, to answer that, but just that whole medium is really, really large now, really taking off. So,
but I'm sure that companies like Mattel and just companies in general recognize that because of that, or because of that industry kind of taking off, that more figures are being sold. Like, you know, it's basically free marketing and promotion for the toy companies. Basically, once, you know, if somebody sees something that looks dope and it's just some amateur person's toy photography, they'll go out there and they'll buy that shit, you know.
I mean, I guess so. Hopefully so. Keep taking pictures if that's the case. If that's the case, then shoot, take more.
You know, speaking of cloth clothing, when I was bringing up what you did with that Ultimate Warrior, have you seen that obviously you have to have seen it, the 1/12 line from Mezco? What do you think about like a 6-inch scale line doing something that they're doing? Because it's something really no one's ever done in the 6-inch scale like that, like full cloth figures, whether it's horror or DC or Marvel.
I mean, for me, just from a personal thing, and like the cloth thing is really you really got to do it right, know what you're doing, because to me it can really break the whole illusion that it looks like a doll as opposed to an action figure.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes the scale really does play into that. Like for me, like for instance, like I really don't like soft goods on 3 3/4 inch figures because it just doesn't lay right to me.
Right.
It looks yeah, you know. So but that's just my preference though.
Yeah, you know, Boog has a very similar thing where he's always honest about the fact that sometimes these characters just don't need the cloth, and throwing it on there just because you do cloth figures, you know, throws it off sometimes when you force it that way.
Exactly.
Yeah, I had a little hot take the other day in one of my videos saying that I just think that putting soft goods on Marvel Legends is just whack. So, like, I don't know.
I mean, but I think along with that, I mean, you have to think of the flavor. I mean, again, I'm not saying this as far as any creative direction or anything, but you got to think of the flavor of the line, you know, and does the line really need that? You know, is that an essential part of the line? Is that something that's going to move the needle in any way? You know, sometimes you got to think about that in order to push things forward. Sometimes you got to experiment a little bit and see. You'll never know. Sometimes you'll never know until you actually see it.
No doubt.
You know, but sometimes, you know, when you hear something like, you know, soft goods on the Marvel Legends figure, the knee-jerk reaction is no, hell no. but then, I mean, I don't know, if you sit back and think about it, you know, certain soft good accents may be pretty cool.
Oh no, certain accents are totally fine with me. A cape with some bendy wire when it makes sense, no question about it. A jacket. Right. You know, a beanie, a hat, something like that, that's fine.
Something like a dope material on Kingpin's tie. You know what I mean? With the, you know, something like that, or like just accents where it's like, damn, you know, that's pretty cool. You know, mm-hmm. Or then you get it. You know, but you have to experiment and see. So,
how you feel about the Marvel Netflix shows?
I dig them. I dig them. I dig them a lot, man. I actually dig them more than the movies, I guess, because you can tell, you can layer the story a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
yeah, 30 episodes. I could see that. I could dig that. Okay.
You know, and I think that's what it really is. It's like it's trying to cram whatever it is that need to be crammed into a movie format, and then tell the origin story, then the origin of whoever the villain is, and then, you know, it's so much. It's like I guess that's why, I mean, I'm kind of jumping around, but why I like the Dark Knight, you know, because you know, it was like the way that the storytelling was told. The second one with the Joker. You know, mm-hmm. It was like how the story was told. How it was really, the whole movie was an origin story about Harvey Dent, but you didn't even really realize it.
True.
You know, and it was like, and that was cool. I like a movie that's told in that type of way. To me, that's cool. Like, that's how you do it.
Yeah, that's interesting that you say that. That it was built up as a Joker movie, and we knew Two-Face was in it, but we didn't know that the film was essentially just a making of Two-Face.
Right, yeah. It's basically the making of Two-Face, but, you know, it had the elements of the Joker. Like, the Joker was just like how he was, like chaos. He was like just a man creating chaos in this whole fucking thing, and Batman's trying to figure it out, but you really get to see the rise of Two-Face. So it was pretty cool. It was clever in that sense.
So your hot take is that the DC movies have been better than the Marvel movies?
I think so. I do. I really do. Some of them I do.
That recent Aquaman was incredible.
Did you beat the Aquaman?
I love Submariner, and I'll just say that.
All right. No doubt. All right, we here almost at the top of the hour. Dave, we're not gonna hold you up too much longer, man. It was a pleasure having you on, man.
Cool, man. Thank you so much.
Hopefully soon we could get you back on after some of these ultimate Mattel figures drop and we get them in hand and maybe get to talk about those a bit.
Hey man, cool. And also thank you. I just want to say thank you guys for having me. I mean, you guys don't know, but I just recently I had a lot of personal issues that kind of came up and was really like, it was really heavy. So it's really cool to have you guys reach out and talk about some stuff that is just fun and less heavy.
No doubt.
So thank you for having me on and just talking amongst friends, talking about some cool stuff. So thank you so much.
No doubt. The love is there, man. Everybody still got much love for you, Dave. So it's good to see you doing what you love again. And, we'll be there supporting the line. No question about it, bro.
Coolio. Thank you so much, brothers. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Peace, Dave.
All right. Take care. Have a good one.
All right. All right, fellas. So I don't know if we want to, do plugs or whatever. I guess we could kind of just wrap it up. Unless y'all want to look at a few pictures or something like that.
It's up to you. Do you want to wrap up now, or do you just?
Let's end it on let's end it with Dave's exit, man. We'll talk about pictures next week.
Yeah, that seems like a good place to end it for sure.
All right, no doubt. But thanks, man. Thanks, T, for coming on. Thanks to Todd for coming on. Everybody's information will be in the description below. Also, where you could link up with Dave. Everything will be in the description. So thank you to everybody for hanging out in the chat. And man, good show, fellas, man.
Of course.
All right. Until next time, y'all. Peace.